Previously on Dark Heresy.
What the hell's just happened? Okay. I just fucked up the music, that's what happened. Here we go. Let's stop that, because that's just silly. Darker Heresy. Blind Weapons. Session 69, Pause for Johnny.
Nice.
As Scale's body ignited and Spring collapsed to the ground unconscious, the false men also went inert. Limp, some might say, pause for Johnny. Venetta, outside the control room, isolated from her team, heard a sound. Some huge door opening and something with many legs skittering forward. Siegfried stood triumphant over the body of the heretic Cyric Scale, and he noticed the windows in the control room for the first time, looking out onto this vast chasm of strange black metal. A mine, he realised. That's what Somnus Halbrel has been so desperate to keep hidden here. That's why he killed those nobles, to stop them building here. But there was no time to do anything about it. A voice, Alyssa from the sound of it, announced that an auto-destruct sequence had begun, 5 minutes to reach minimum safe distance. And the voice of Scale, a dead man, spoke from the vox grills hidden in the walls, and also broadcast directly into your combeats. He called you very, very rude. He said he had invited you to speak like civilized people, and you had disappointed him by resorting to violence. Consoles around the control room lit up as vast amounts of data began to scroll by, too fast for the naked eye to see. If only Venetta had been in there, she could have maybe made sense of some of that data, or maybe even someone else, like Otto. Scale called you nothing but weapons, blind weapons. He spoke of having died many times and accomplished so much in his life, but there was still work to be done. He wished you luck, escaping the place, and warned you that the next time you met, he would not parley. He would destroy you. But Scale was dead, slain by Siegfried, unless the remote neural links, the false men, convincing artificial bodies. Could Scale be using a proxy? Some sort of automaton? Remotely controlled? Was the DM the sort of person that would reuse a plot device from a different campaign? Yes, you realise. Yes, he was. Ted grabbed Spring as you all bolted for the door, which started to rapidly close. Siegfried and Jarek made it out, engaging in a fight with the reawakening false men, but the Syrian brothers, Ted and Spring, were trapped between these two heavy doors. And the huge metallic spider-like construct came barreling around the corner, crashing into Jarek and the false men, picking up the naval security officer, and then Siegfried, tossing them behind it, seemingly interested in only getting to Venetta as it scrabbled towards her. Venetta blasted at the thing, and at the heavy door, too, making a hole large enough for Ted to get his percussion mallet in, using the weapon to tear a rip into that armoured door that Titulos then wedged a crack grenade in. And with a muffled thump, the door weakened and buckled, allowing the group to pry themselves free. Jarek and Siegfried slew the spider beast, and soon the false men were little more than lumps of misshapen scrap draped in the red robes of Mars. The acolytes sprinted back through the corridors of the mining facility, Siegfried leading the way, the cocktail of ghost fire and kick coursing through his veins. Spring began to wake up. She was groggy, heavily wounded. Ted carried her upon his shoulder with ease. And reaching the central staircase, descending back down the way you came, you made a decision that perhaps changed everything. Back down the stairs, further down, in the hangar where you first entered this facility, there lays an air vent, which snakes up through the mountain to the surface, where a rented ornithopter sits waiting for you. Had you returned this vehicle, you would have only had a minute or so before the mountain detonated. And although the ornithopter was fast, was it fast enough to escape that blast? You may never know. But you did not return that way. You headed into the shuttle hangar, seeing a monotask servitor spraying thick black paint onto a waiting shuttle. The paint had a strange iridescent sheen to it. It was hard to focus on. In the cockpit there was a pilot, a woman, stained by blood and oil, wearing an ancient, ruined naval uniform, hardwired into the console of this vehicle, and she begged, screamed to be released. "Kill me," she said. "Kill me, please. Don't make me fly." But there was no time for such things, no time for mercy. Venetta threw herself into the co-pilot's seat, and within moments the shuttle was up, out, through a narrow tunnel at high speed. Venetta's heart rate was slow and steady. There was no rush of adrenaline. She was perfectly in control of herself and this vessel. She oozed confidence. This timid, nervous woman, abused by a rogue Magos, experimented on, forced into servitude. A woman Mesmeron has taken in out of curiosity just to see if she knew anything about the Magos' work or clients. She had been questioned, her mind probed, and then just left, alone in the mansion. When Mesmeron was done with her, she just discarded her, left her in a cell with an open door. Venetta was never officially a part of the team. She had nowhere to go, and she found the workshop while wandering the mansion, and just started to get to work. And in time, Mesmeron offered her a reward for her service. She offered to undo what the Magos had done. And now, 3 years later, Venetta is mistress of that workshop. She has crafted exquisite weapons for her special friend, Canny. She has mastered the complexities of teleportation homing beacons. She has befriended Alyssa, an abominable intelligence of sorts. She has formed a curious, unlikely bond with young Spring. She has the respect of Gladstock, the Syrians, Dr. Pench. The carnival folk see her as something of a hero after she led a team to investigate the missing bird woman, Millie, solving the case with the realization that it had been the beast in the House of Horrors who had killed her. That beast then almost took Venetta's life, and was brought down by Otto Krasmark, the unlikeliest of crooked little heroes. Of course, the carnival folk don't know the whole truth. They don't know exactly what that creature was, what it could have done, or that Venetta was the one who let it out in the first place. They don't even know that it killed Millie while she was hiding the vast amount of thrones that old Wiley McCann was stashing in the beast's cage. But still, Venetta is not the same woman that she was when this all began. She has just led her first mission. She has found the lair of Cyrix Scale, arch-heretic, ally of Felroth Gelt. Scale is dead, sort of, maybe. The heretical mine is destroyed. From beloved daughter of a watchmaker, to bio-slaved menial of a demented Magos, to prisoner, to tech wizard, Venetta has come far. She glances down at the left hand, the one of flesh and blood, and then at the right, the complex arrangement of pistons, gears, and cables installed by the Magos. The hand comes up and brushes at the snaking cables that spiral out of her neck and into her shoulder. The fingertips touch the edge of the bird rough flesh there. Flesh. Blessed flesh. That phrase. For weeks that phrase has come unbidden to Venetta's thoughts. The passenger sits behind her eyes, watching. Passive. It will not come unless asked. This crude copy of Venetta's functionality, minus her personality and memories, sits in the data storage fused to Venetta's brain. It waits. Blessed flesh. Behind the shuttle, the mountain detonates, throwing up a vast cloud of dust and debris. The shockwave rolls forth, chasing the shuttle as it arcs skyward away from the blast site. blessed flesh. The shuttle outpaces the blast as Veneta angles it to the west, back towards Hive Decileum, to Spire Eldon, to the eastern plateau where you will find sanctuary among Lady Pagni and her people. Blessed flesh. The pilot, besides Veneta, weeps and moans and wails and begs. "Kill me, please! Don't make me fly!" She turns to Veneta. A tear rolls down one cheek. A tear of crimson, leaving behind an oily smear on a once pretty young face. "Please!" she begs. Before we begin, Canny, could you make a weapon skill test at -30, please? Siegfried, you are fatigued. 2 levels of fatigue, so you're -10 to all your stats until you rest. And if you take another 2 levels... Sorry?
There's something I can take to remove the effect of fatigue, isn't there?
Yes, but... So you took some drugs in the last game, Ghostfire and something that would stave off fatigue. This fatigue is the effect of those drugs wearing off.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take another drug of some kind to stave off that fatigue, but then they will wear off and you will gain yet more fatigue. And you'll just keep stacking levels of fatigue if you keep doing that. The only way to properly remove fatigue permanently is by rest. Have a little kip.
I'm gonna fall asleep in the hospital.
Okay. What have you rolled, Alan?
Fail by 5 degrees, Dave.
Okay. That's something we were supposed to have done last session and I forgot about. Anyway, Spring is also fatigued. She's come round. She's woken up now, but she looks in a pretty bad state. Okay.
I want to sedate the pilot, please.
Sure.
Put her under. Yeah.
Have you got anything to sedate her with?
I've got a med kit. I don't know. I'm hoping.
Let's.
That's up to you, Dave.
Let's say you know enough about such things to get creative with it, and you can do that. So, give me a Medicae test, the +20 for the med kit.
Let's pass.
Okay, yeah. She instantly seems to go slack, slumps over in her seat a bit, and as she does, there's a moment where the shuttle judders. But you manage to, you manage to maintain control. But it does feel like something, perhaps disconnected is the best word, from the shuttle in that moment as she passed out.
Interesting.
With the current velocity of this shuttle, you estimate you will reach Hive Decileum in around 30 minutes. Besides the non-standard thick black paint on the exterior and the crudely hardwired pilot, this shuttle appears to be a fairly standard Arvus lighter, an unglamorous workhorse of a vessel, known for its dependability and rugged nature. It's quite squat and box-like, and has these ungainly paddle-shaped wings protruding from each side-mounted engine. It can hold 12 passengers, in addition to its crew of 2. It can also hold several tons of supplies or cargo, although the cargo section of this particular craft has been modified somewhat, and it has what looks like fittings in the deck and the ceiling for restraints of some kind to be fitted to it. While it's not designed for action in hostile settings, the Arvus does have some armour and survivability. It could serve as an assault boat or for emergency troop extractions, or just to get around. It lacks a lot of the more advanced features of many Imperial vessels, but it's a good, solid workhorse, a common sight in every Imperial spaceport and station, In short, it's a rather useful ship for an inquisitorial acolyte team to have. But there's something odd about it. And you've all felt it since the moment you boarded. It makes you feel a little unsettled, anxious, and a little queasy. Fucking hell, says Spring. I feel like I'm going to uneat my breakfast. Uneat, says Titulos. Yeah, you know, bleh, uneat, replies Spring. You mean vomit, throw up, chunder, asks Titulos. Oh, look at Mr. Fancy Pants with his fancy words, says Spring, before she grimaces in pain, clutching at her abdomen and left leg, where the blistered, scorched flesh look raw and agonizing. The girl needs a medic, calls Titulos. Who are you calling girl? Says Spring. All right, the simpleton needs a medic. That's better, says Spring. She leans into Siegfried. What's a simpleton?
Siegfried just...
You've got about half an hour of flight time. We can skip over that if you want, or you can have a little time to role play on your journey. It's up to you.
What's that? Sorry, Yellow Johnny.
Siegfried's power napping.
Okay. I'm just going to say to the group. I'm going to say my intention is to requisition from Lady Pagni one of her shuttle bays and perhaps some bionics as well. I intend to ask her quite firmly whether she will provide us with such. So if there's anything that you need, I think Spring might need something, but if there's anything anyone else needs in the bionic front, then now will be the time to ask. So consider that in the time when we're leading up there. Siegfried wants to talk, but he's sleeping. So
Don't summon the meta chicken, Johnny.
Look at Titulos, I think, and say perhaps the bionic arm, Titulos, help you wield that chainsaw more effectively.
Oh!
He glares at you and says, "Yeah, sure. Just turn us all into machines. That'd be real fucking handy, wouldn't it? You know, make it much easier for us to get us to do your bidding, wouldn't it? Eh, Veneta? Eh?"
It is. I would say, don't you see, after facing Scale, how weak we are in comparison to where we need to be? We don't have the luxury of turning away any weapon that we might use.
I don't know, we seem to be doing alright here. Owners sat there smug in the corner.
You're looking unusually smug today, Ferris.
Titulos,
it's a gift of God, and I liked it. Just call me a smug bastard.
Titulos grins at his brother and holds up a fist for a fist bump.
Yeah, I'll fist bump him. But not all of us want to become bionic allies. We've still got working limbs, you know. What happened to sitting on your left hand and stranger in it?
No, don't make it weird, brother. Don't make it weird. You know, there's ladies present.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna do
Now's not the time, Ferris.
That you speaking, Kenny?
I hear a rumour that old Mortalis is a big friend of the stranger.
Oh yeah. I bet it does as well.
I'm gonna say to
Might
everybody,
think himself, doesn't he? Ha 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 ha. There it is.
So there won't be any mandatory bionics implemented. It was just an option. It was just a thought. You know, I wouldn't force anything on anyone. But you know, we're not where we need to be in terms of strength. I think what we've seen in the mission has shown that. Next time we face Scale, he won't be caught unprepared.
What do you mean face Scale? He's fucking dead. You saw him. He's like his arm was on fire, and he went up like a man on fire.
Oh, I saw his D-face Scale, isn't that right, Tits? Fist bump.
I think he's beyond death, and that's what I mean. That's how weak we are in comparison to the enemy. He's lived many times, he said, and he's accomplished so much. We haven't killed him. That's just what he wanted us to believe.
That's bollocks. He's just fucking with you, V. You know, he's just messing around. He's fucking dead. We saw him.
No, I've got a feeling. What was that beast? Was it like a scorpion or a spider or something? I'm just asking Dave. Is that a creature that they're like the big gribbly thing at the end of?
Yeah, it was like a spider, like a big robot spider.
I got a feeling that he was in the spider somehow. That spider called me a cunt.
Pretty expensive words for a arachnid, don't you? Great tits.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of a spider speaking. Never mind swearing. That sounds a bit excessive. Have you been sniffing around Canny's room? Have you been in his secret drawer?
I bet she's been meddling with that med pack again.
You've been helping yourself to the meds, V.
So we've seen how easy you put that lass under.
Fair enough. If you won't be sensible.
Oh, sorry,
But anyway, it was just a you know, you don't have to take Lady Pagni up on what she's going to give us, but you know, you may never get a better chance.
Do you think she has like cybernetic kneecaps? Because my fucking knee is shot to shit. You see, there's like a big blood stain on Titulus's kneecap.
I'm sure she has that and more.
I mean, I might take a new knee. I mean, this one's not. You see, he's struggling to bend it a little bit. It's not as good as it used to be.
A good idea.
Spring, what's spring?
Yeah. You can't do without good knees, can you?
I'm going to berate Titulus, as his brother said. Tits, you can't be more fucking careful. You are always getting yourself blown up, fucked up, or something. You just got to take it steady, get a gun.
I mean, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember, brother, but we're soldiers. That's kind of what we do. You know, we blow people up and we get blown up, but we're still alive, so we must be winning.
I was just saying that, bro. As a bro, it makes me worry sometimes because, like, I've seen you pretty fucked up in the hospital not so long back.
Yeah, but that was different, weren't it?
Oh,
well. Say, just remind me what that was. What damage did he take that was in the hospital for a while?
He took a frag grenade to the chest.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
From a grenade launcher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody shrugs off frag grenades like you, bro. But you're not invincible.
Hang on a minute. Aren't you the dickhead who got shot by an autocannon at like point blank?
Yeah, but I can take it.
I mean, VI's got a point. We probably do need to start being a bit more careful. You remember all them tactics that they taught us back back on Bron? You know, we should maybe start using them. We could maybe teach these people some of them. I mean, we do a lot of just running blindly into danger. I mean, do you remember cover? Cover was a thing they taught us. We never fucking use that, do we? Imagine how good we'd be if we used cover.
What? As well as suppressing fire?
And suppressing fire. It's another good
tactical flanking manoeuvres. No, we don't do that.
Yeah. What we need, right, is like something, you know, like we can hide behind. You know, it'd be even better if it was something we could move and hide behind and shoot from behind it. You know, maybe like Gaius in his fucking shield. Yeah,
I like Gaius. Yeah, he's dense enough to sit at the front, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Imagine if Canny had a shield, because Canny's like fucking 3 times a week.
It's like a bloody spastic, but still. Oh, don't tell him I said that.
Vanetta's going to say, I'm sure we could equip you with combat shields if you think it would be useful for you. I mean, that's well within our capabilities.
I mean, yeah. Brace support, Vanetta. You know, something to rest our auto guns on.
I mean, they're not always the perfect tool for the job, but there's times, isn't there? Breaching, that sort of thing, they come in real useful.
I could do with a bayonet, to be fair.
You need to get the hang of that, and he points at your bolt gun that Gladstock gave you.
I know, and I pick it up and it slips out my fingers again. Yeah, I know.
Butterfingers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as good as it should be, bro. Yeah, it's a new beast, but I thought like it performed all right.
Yeah, it did, but I mean, I was watching. You missed quite a few times.
Good for the lady.
Sorry.
Right, try and make me look bad.
I got your back. What you were, and Titulos is gesturing with his head really awkwardly. First towards
this is gonna. God.
No, first towards Venetta with a wink, and then Spring with a shrug of the shoulders, and then with a confused look, he points at the pilot who's got nothing human from the waist down.
And I'm just gonna back forward the pilot and giggle at him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've had worse, to be honest.
And then give a sideward glance to Spring.
Titulos sees you looking at her and then whispers right in your ear, "Come on, mate, she's a bit young."
I forget sometimes. Eat a battle. How old is Spring?
No one really knows. She looks She looks like she might be late teens, early 20s at the most, but no one really knows how old she is. She doesn't even know. There was a moment a while back when the concept of her age came up, and she didn't even understand the question.
Withdraw that then.
She's not a child.
I didn't realise on like.
No, she's
young she was. Yeah.
In seriousness, she's not a child. She's quite clearly an adult of legal age. But it is a mystery how old she is because she acts a lot younger than she appears. She's very naive. She doesn't understand a lot of things. She has when someone asked her how old she was, she didn't even know how to answer. She had no idea what she was being asked.
All right, just withdraw that. I'll just keep it pointed at the pilot.
Let's not make it noncy.
Noncy, catchy monkey.
You shouldn't be telling kids that.
Pheromone. Okay, anything else anyone wants to say or do before we continue with this flight?
Who's Siegfried sat next to?
Spring is one side of you, and anyone you want, apart from Venetta, who's flying, can be on the other side.
Well, whoever is, except for
I vote
Spring,
Ted.
I'll roll the die to see who I lean on.
Go on then.
Somebody else on a 4, 5, 6. It's Spring.
Okay, I'll randomise who's on the other side of you if you want as well.
Yeah. Please, you might need to roll a die for me because
yeah, no problem. Okay, so it's whoever's on the other side of you. So who we got? We've got Theranos, Titulos, Jarek, Ted, Spring. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Spring.
So, Siegfried sort of like is asleep in the chair, and then he just sort of like leans over to one side and falls against Spring, and then probably just drops onto the floor because he's like out of it.
Okay. She's also pretty out of it. She's drifting in and out of consciousness. And at first, you fall to one side and your head's resting on her shoulder and her head comes down on top of yours. And it looks quite sweet because, you're a lot older than her. It almost for a moment looks like maybe a father and daughter having a little moment with your heads together. And then slowly you begin to slither forward to the point that your head slumps down off her ample bosom, and you end up with your head in her lap. And she falls the other way and ends up with her head sort of on your hip. And now it just looks weird.
Yeah, I had to randomise that, but that's turned out wrong. But yeah, and then obviously he drove quite a bit because he was basically on lots of drugs, so he's out of it now.
Okay. Right, I'll just grab a beer and we'll arrive at Spire Eldon.
Cheers, Dave.
Where are your beautiful faces?
Have two.
Hayden, oh,
So
Okay.
right, there we go. What happened there?
there you go.
Right, okay. The shuttle piloted by Veneta descends towards the towering spires of the Hive City, its engines whining as it fights against the ever-present smog and pollution. In the rear of the shuttle, nursing an assortment of wounds, the rest of you sit, strapped into grav couches, as you prepare to meet with Lady Leonandra Pagni once more, a noblewoman renowned for her wealth and influence. Not all of you have met her ladyship before, but with the exception of Ted, you have probably all heard of her. You know that she and the Inquisitor formed a friendship of sorts a decade ago when Mesmeron was last here on this world. When she was posing as a noble off-worlder while hunting the arch-heretic Felroth Gelt. And now Lady Leonandra Pagni has been drawn into your world of subterfuge and danger, although some would say she has always spent her life in danger, as part of the cutthroat nobility of Desalium. Before she left this world, the Inquisitor struck a deal with Lady Pagni, 50th now in line to the head of House Eldon. Mesmeron revealed to Lady Pagni, the daughter of Lord Eldon, who and what you all are, and she offered assistance in ensuring that Lady Pagni rises to the top of her family in exchange for access to Hive Desalium's high society and perhaps a few bionics here and there. Lady Pagni agreed, but then again, how could she not? Who would dare refuse such an offer from an Inquisitor of the Ordo Malleus? Since then, Siegfried and Trantia have been living in Lady Pagni's home, posing as off-world noble merchants from distant Fenxworld, the Lord and Lady Rains, no less, as they are known here. They have been attending parties, mixing with the rich and powerful, learning the movers, the shakers, the ins and outs of Hive Desalium's upper social hierarchy. But Lord Siegfried von Morton, Agent Ryslaw, as some know him, has been up to other things while he is here. Things more suited to his skill set. He has been gathering intel, gossip, peering into the dark, murky underbelly of the House Eldon bloodline, and so far, Siegfried has acquired implicating evidence against one of Lady Pagni's cousins and uncles, which her ladyship has used as leverage to ensure they both slip down the Order of Ascension, as it's known. And in the wastes of Desalium, Siegfried and his unusual team of Plex Thesseracs, Serena Malucci, Jerry and the boys removed Lady Pagni's half-brother from the playing board. The tragic tale of how he was visiting a soon-to-be-reopened titanium mine, only to be ambushed and slaughtered by wasteland raiders, has swept through Hive Desalium nobility. How many believe that tale? It matters not. All that matters is that it sounds plausible. Murder, assassination, underhand dealings, and shady practices are part and parcel of life in the upper tiers. There is just one simple rule. Don't get caught. Only two other people in Lady Pagni's staff know that Lord Rains isn't everything he seems to be. One is Magos Grus, head of Lady Pagni's fabrication plants. And the other is Senior Tartier Kale Marotti, head of Pagni Security. They know your mission, Siegfried, your purpose in the Spire, but they are not entirely aware of your true identity, or your affiliation with the Inquisition. As you approach Hive Desalium this evening, its grand scale becomes apparent. 300 billion souls crammed into this vast agglomeration of spires and towers. At the heart of the city, a towering spike of glittering silver juts up, piercing the clouds. The seat of power here in this world, ruled by the aloof, hereditary planetary governor, Lady Ord Killian. And around this central spike are 7 jaw-droppingly tall spires, each varying in height to depict their standing in Hive Desalium's hierarchy, and year by year, decade by decade, these towers reach higher and higher as their favour with Ord Killian waxes and wanes. And each of these spires is surrounded by smaller towers, lesser nobles and merchants in thrall to the great houses. And there is an 8th tower, smaller than the other 7, but some say it has grown with a rapidity that suggests it will soon equal, if not outshine, the others. House Rosa, the newest great house, who have ascended with such velocity that one might suspect something untoward was occurring. But it is not to this tower that you fly. It is to the tallest of the 8 satellite spires around the apex, the most powerful of the great houses, House Eldon, favoured of Lady Ord Killian, ruled by the cruel Lord Jonas Eldon, father of Lady Pagni and Alyssa. The man who sent a team of soldiers into the mansion after you stole a rare power cell from the Shattered Foundry, a heretical factorum where the abominable intelligence Alyssa was creating illegal heretical servitors fitted with neural arrays. You have enough evidence to move against Lord Eldon, but the Inquisitor's instructions were clear. Help Lady Pagni rise through the ranks. Get her in position as first in line to the Eldon throne before you make your move against Jonas Eldon. Jonas Eldon can wait, must wait. That is the Inquisitor's will, her instruction, her demand. A voice crackles over the Vox as you approach the tower.
Unidentified shuttle, you are straying into Pagni airspace. Alter your course or you will be brought down.
This is unidentified shuttle. We require to speak to someone in authority. Senior Tartar Kale will suffice.
Unidentified shuttle, hold your position.
Okay, I shall draw us to a non-aggressive halt.
Okay, make an awareness test, please, Vanetta, with a +20. Sight-based.
Awareness, eh? +20. Alright, how do we do this now? We roll there. So all these boxes are thrown.
I don't know what the fuck's happened there. It's really annoying.
I failed the awareness, as ever.
Okay. There's a wait of a minute goes by. And then another minute. And then another minute.
Unidentified shuttle, you are clear to land at pad 4. Senior Tartar Marathi will meet you with escort. Any aggressive moves will lead to you being vaporized.
Roger that. I shall bring us in a very slow. I can fly casual, but I'm not going to look like I'm flying casual.
Not too casual. You alright there? What are you doing? Okay. Alright, you see one of the pads. There looks to be only about half a dozen shuttle-sized pads around Spire Pagni. About halfway up. And you see one of them light up. There's a couple of shuttles on some of the others. They're not all full. And you easily come into land on this pad. And the shuttle jolts down gently, and you disembark through the rear of the shuttle as a group. And you see, striding towards you across this walkway from the tower itself, there are about a dozen of Lady Leonandra Pagni's guards, heavily armed and decked out in incredibly well-made looking carapace armour with some very high-tech weaponry. And they stride across the walkway. Sorry?
Say to Tits, don't you fancy still that gear?
Tit says, no, look at them. They look like fucking peacocks. And the armour is incredibly ornate. It's very brightly coloured. It's blue and gold. It's completely over the top. They halt around a dozen meters away from your group, and one of them, who is not wearing the full armor that they are, he looks like he's wearing more of like just a breastplate with a long storm coat, but he does have these ornate shoulder pads. He begins to approach you, and he looks a little like this. I don't think we've actually seen this chap before.
Cool.
His eyes are ever so slightly red. And you recognise him. Most of you have been here before, with the exception of Jarek I don't think Spring has, and I don't think. Obviously, Ted hasn't either. And you recognise this man. This is Senior Tartier Kale Marotti, and he looks you all over. You see him reserve a few moments of glaring to look at Ted, and then he turns his attention to Siegfried. He says, "My Lord Rains, I was not aware you had left the premises. I shall have the ocular surveillance technician flogged, my lord. I would have sent a protection detail with you had I known you had business outside the tower." You responding to him, Johnny?
Much obliged.
So yeah,
But that won't be necessary.
It is a necessary requirement. His job is to make sure no one comes and goes without my knowledge. So just to clarify, the way you left this mission, you didn't leave the tower. You left through your secret entrance that leads you back to the mansion. And from there, you all travelled as a group up high to this rented ornithopter. So as far as Kale Marotti knows, you never left this tower.
Right.
He peers at the rest of you and also the shuttle with a bit of concern in his face. He says, "Please, if you would come this way, there is a rad storm moving in from the east. You should get inside, my lord, and your companions too."
Very good. So I'll go with him.
So I'm going to. I'll speak up at this moment. And say, my Lord Kale. So I'm in command of this operation. I need to speak to Lady Pagni if possible, but if not, I need to speak to you in her stead. Privately, if possible. I'm going to glance at the ceremonial guard.
Okay. Make an awareness test. Plus 10. Plus 10, and it's sight-based as well.
Okay.
Anyone else can make this test as well if they want.
I will.
No fatigue.
We get plus 10 or just normal?
Yeah, everyone gets plus 10, and it's sight-based if that makes a difference to any of you. I know it does some of you, like Siegfried.
I have to pay at least 200 for awareness if I want it. I don't know if it's 200 or 300.
Awareness is great to have.
It's worth noting as well that things like auspexes work in conjunction with awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason why it's a good skill to have.
So I think you have to roll for me. I know it's annoying, but
No, it's all right. It's not a problem. You have heightened senses, so that gives you plus 20 in total. Ferinus and Siegfried both notice that as Venetta says this, that she wants to speak with Lady Pagni, there is a flicker from Kale Marotti's eyes. It looks like lights moving in his eyes all of a sudden. And you think you can also hear Siegfried. You think you can hear a distant voice, a tinny voice, like it's coming through a vox somewhere. Mm-hmm. And you also notice that it's quite obvious Kale is looking at the weapons each of you carry. As he's looking you over. And then he turns his attention back to Venetta and he says, "Calamir, Venetta. Lady Pagni is currently in a business meeting, but if you would care to come this way, we will make you comfortable in Lord Rain's suite, perhaps some refreshments, and some of you seem wounded. Perhaps I can arrange for an apothecary to be sent to your suite while you wait for my lady.
Yes, that's that'll be most. Oh, God, sorry, Johnny, I'm talking.
No, it's alright. It's like an excellent suggestion. We're happy. If you would, we'll be happy to turn our arms if that's required. I know it must be a bit strange just going up like this.
No, that is no problem. He looks a little awkward as he says that.
He's basically been told it's not a problem.
It's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem to him. But I'm going to say that there is another matter of the shuttle. We need this putting out of sight.
That is easily arranged. And you hear this clunk and whir from behind you, and you turn and you see this dome extending up in two halves from the shuttle pad, sort of coming around, up and over the shuttle, and forming a bubble.
And I shall say, and there is another matter as well, a more delicate matter regarding the shuttle. There is a pilot within. She seems attached, almost inbuilt into the shuttle. We need her. We need one of your surgeons or doctors to get her out and get her into safety as soon as possible. We have to save her, I'm going to say, and I'm going to look him firmly in the eyes.
He holds your gaze for a moment, and then he nods and says, "We have a number of skilled surgeons in this facility for," and he gestures towards your bionic arm. He says, "for a variety of procedures. I shall have one sent and make an assessment immediately."
Thank you. Yes, that is why we came here specifically. There's nowhere else which we could turn to that could offer the services that we need.
I understand. But please, this way. And he looks towards the east. Says, "The Radstorm is mere minutes away."
Okay, we'll head off.
Okay. And he leads you all. He nods his head respectfully towards you, Ferris. He doesn't salute back. You also notice, all of you, that he does not have a Hive Decilium accent. He's most definitely an off-worlder. He's quite dark-skinned as well. Most people that live on Decilium are very pale. Not much sunlight filters through the shit clouds, basically, on this world. But he's got a much darker tone to his skin. As you're walking off, anyone that has an Auspex on them, could you roll a D100, please?
I don't think I do, to be honest.
I'll tell you if you do, because you're struggling with your character sheet, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not showing off on this thing.
No, you don't.
Actually, no. Actually, my aspect is shattered, so never mind.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, put it on the shop. We could put it on the wish list.
I mean, there are Auspexes back at the mansion. There's a couple. I think there's a couple kicking about in the workshop, and I think your broken one can be repaired as well, Vinetta.
Too busy. Too many jobs.
There's other people that can fix stuff, though. Especially now. Now there's Ted. And
that's right, Ted. Well, Ted, speak up.
What do you think about this, Ted? Do you want to get any bionics, Ted?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, my old shoulder's not so good. It's always been a bit stiff, but it's a decision I'll have to think on.
You do that, Ted.
Maybe I'll have to meditate, speak to the little voice in my head, that sort of thing. You're ushered into an ornate elevator, which swiftly whisks you up to the higher levels of the spire. And as the elevator doors open, you're met with this sight that Siegfried you're familiar with, but the rest of you, it catches you off guard. The opulence here is beyond your wildest dreams. The corridors are lined with priceless art, paintings, statues. The air is thick with the scent of rare perfumes and incense. The squad remain behind at some unspoken order, waiting in the elevator as Kale Marotti leads you down this corridor. Everyone make a awareness test, please. Sight-based.
You'll have to do that for me, Dave. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Ha! Can't get anything past me.
I didn't see his flowers down.
Vanetta and Jarek, as you're walking down this this corridor, there's all these fancy paintings and big statues and various little objects here, there, and everywhere. And there's this shelf with these small carvings of creatures, weird and wonderful beasts. And they look like they're made of precious metals with gems for eyes and stuff like that. And you see, quick as a flash, Spring just reaches out, grabs one, and stuffs it in a pocket.
Oh, that's true. I bet it's worth a fortune as well.
So I'm adding it to her inventory as Fabergé dinosaur. All right. Eventually, you get to the end of this corridor where Siegfried, your suite is, and Kale steps in front of you and he pushes the two double doors open, and the rest of you see the luxury that Siegfried and Trantia have been living in. And although the mansion is quite opulent, this is fucking unreal. This is another level of wealth and grandeur. There's this large central area, and you can see a set of large double doors opposite you that look out onto a balcony that look onto the hive, into the center of the hive, and you can see the apex. But because of the altitude you're at now, you don't see the smog, you don't see the filth, you don't see the grime, you just see these glistening towers that pierce the clouds. And you start to realize just how high up you actually are. And through the window above you, there is nothing but stars. This central room has dining tables, a large fireplace, lots of very comfortable looking couches finished in unusual looking animal hides, and to the left and right there are doors that lead off to other chambers. Siegfried, you know what these doors lead to. One leads to your suite, your room and private bathroom. The other one leads to Trantia's half of this shared complex. So you've got a bit of time here. Is there anything anyone would like to do?
Oh, what drinks you got, Siegfried? I'm going to light my last IO stick.
Over there, we have a look in the what do you call them in the drink cabinet over there?
There is like a small bar in the corner, and it's very well stocked with wines and various assorted amaseks. There's even a few very rare imported ales in a cooler.
Yeah.
Lord, what's his cover name? What's his cover name?
Make yourself at home, boys.
Lord Rains. Lord Rains. Can you partake to pour me and my brother a drink from this thing? As I said, it's the custom. It's the custom in our.
Not mine. And he carried on walking and just pushes the doors open, then slumps on his bed.
Okay.
And then just says close. All that, and the doors close themselves.
Okay, as he passes through these double doors as well, you see his bedroom, and he's got this like what looks like a golden 4-poster bed with these extravagant red sort of curtains around it, and these silk sheets. And you realise, holy shit! I mean, a lot of you think the mansion's accommodations are incredible compared to what a lot of you would have grown up with, but this is just ridiculous. This is absolute unnecessary splendour.
Bastard tits. And I'm pouring us both a drink out of their thing.
While Siegfried's in his room, he's just going to be like, oh, I do so hate slumming it, and then just smile.
The things you're forced to do for the Inquisition.
Okay, so Spring slumps into a chair by the fire, and she's asleep within minutes. And Siegfried's gone off to bed. So at the moment there is Theranos, Titulos pouring drinks. Titulos is grabbing beers for you both. There's Venetta, there's Jarek, and there's Ted. Ted takes a beer. Seems to be in awe of all this. And he walks over to the balcony, or the doors that lead to the balcony, and you see him peering out. And he goes, how fucking high up are we?
I find it best not to look, Ted. Ignorance is bliss sometimes for your mental well-being, isn't that right, Tits?
Tits goes, fucking right, especially in this job.
We're all the way up, I'm going to say to Ted.
Jarek and Venetta, can you both please make an intelligence test?
And as Venetta says all the way up, I'm going to wink at Titulos and go, ha, for the.
Jarek, you'll get a plus 20 to this intelligence test.
Don't know if Jarek's with us. Dave been, sorry, hold on a sec. Has Dave been talking for No, you haven't been talking. That's fine. Because sometimes I lose people's audio and I don't realise for a while. But you've been quiet for a while. That's all. So I wasn't sure whether that was real life quiet or it was on me. So, but now I can hear you just fine. But yeah, sometimes it takes me a long time to realise that I've lost lost the audio on someone, and I've just not heard anything they've said in the last 30 minutes. That's a regular occurrence. So.
I do that when I mute James because there's family talking in the back.
You're trying to do the intro. You're trying to hear the intro, and all you can hear is like their daughter telling them what they've done today, or his missus is washing the pots or something, and then you mute it, and then half an hour later you look at the screen and James is going.
I generally try to mute myself when my family's talking.
Oh, thank goodness it wasn't just me.
I tried to mute myself during Alan's introductions to his game because invariably I'm pissing myself laughing at something that's happened. Right. I
like Alan to hear my laughter.
I mean, like I say, I thought that you talking in the intro was off-putting, but then one game you all muted yourself, and I found it really unsettling because I was like talking, I was thinking, I'm sure I should be getting at least a titter from this, but dead silence, right? And then you actually feel a little like, what's happening here? Yes, I like to be able to gauge your reactions a little, I'll be honest.
That was the session after Johnny had made the intro 25 minutes long because he couldn't stop laughing and commenting on everything you said. I think that's where Pause for Johnny came from. Anyway, so you've got this room. There is an apothecary on the way. You've been told. Is there anything you'd like to do or say to each other before this apothecary turns up, or we can skip over to that? It's entirely up to you guys.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I've got something that I'd like to do. I'd like to pull out my data slate, and I'm going to start listing, improvements to be made. Weaknesses in Venetta's body that are going to have to be cut away. I'm going to start listing, designing the work that she intends to have done to her own body.
Okay.
That's gonna go. That's gonna go. You're gone.
Don't need those anymore. Well, I'll keep those. Canny seem to like them.
Canny's less important than the Inquisition, so...
Ferris is going to have a conversation with Tits as they've been drinking over the course of the evening, because we did the brotherly thing, celebrate after a battle. So basically chat about, like, so you know I know we scoffed at them, but maybe we could get like a stronger left arm each and have a matching arm, bro.
I mean, what the fuck am I going to do with a stronger left arm?
Wank-harder.
I'm right-handed, didn't I?
Well, alright then. Stronger left, stronger right. I'm right-handed as well.
I mean, that makes more sense. Then we'd be like mirrors of each other, wouldn't we?
We kind of would, wouldn't we, bro?
Yeah. Titulos and Theranos, by the way, are almost identical twins. The only thing that's different about them is the scars, and Titulos is bigger. He's a bit broader in the shoulder, a bit thicker in the arm, but he's a bigger build. But they are very, very similar looking.
What is Titulos' strength stat? Come on, Dave.
Vanetta would like to speak up.
Okay.
She's gonna go. You two should get matching knees.
That's a good idea. Hey, we could get like
my knees ain't shot, bro.
We could get kneecaps with like the Inquisition symbol in them, couldn't we?
Armoured kneecaps.
I could call you the bionic brother, couldn't I, bro?
By the way, in answer to your question, Hayden, it's more than Theranos's.
Oh, is it? More than 44?
Yep.
Okay.
They're designed as Titulos is melee and Theranos is ranged.
Yeah, I remember that.
The idea was they complement each other.
For a while, like, Theranos had a really good strength stat on there.
The problem is that Theranos got took on a lot of missions, and Titulos was really badly wounded, wasn't he? In the twice, in fact, in the hunt for Zaxolthane and also in the defense of the mansion. Titulos was so fucked up you couldn't take him on a mission. So Theranos got loads of XP for going out with you, whereas Titulos just sat and wanked himself off in the infirmary, I suppose, but with his real hand.
It's a transient.
When you say they complement each other, are they just like patting each other on the back and saying,
Yeah.
"Well done, good job"?
That is literally what they would like. If you read the original backstory I've got, I can't tell you too much, but they're really awkwardly close. Is the best way to describe it.
Are they Alabama close?
No, not quite that close, no. But I think it's come up a couple of times, hasn't it, when one of them has passed an awareness test and the other hasn't. And they've both been aware. That's happened a couple of times. Like, one of them's seen something and they're both like, oh, look at that. So they share more than just physicality, more than just features. There's some weird bond there. And they finish each other's sentences in the backstory, but that hasn't happened much in the game because it's really fucking hard to do.
We caught one moment earlier and said the same word at the same time.
Yeah, that was accidental, though, wasn't it?
I know, but
was the word wanking?
It probably was.
They're actually, I portray Titulos as being a bit thick, but they're actually, for guardsmen, quite intelligent and quite well educated as well. They come from a world where the guard aren't just given a las rifle and sent off to war. They're actually given an education. Even if they are, low born, they're still given something of a rudimentary education, which is why they both have quite an odd set of skills. So anyway, you're compiling this list.
A shopping list, if you will.
Yeah. Theranos and Titulos, they're having a drink, discussing maybe getting arms. Knees.
Bumpsy daisy.
So, in all seriousness, if there is anything that you want, I mean, obviously, Hayden, you're not going to be playing Theranos for much longer.
Yeah, I know, but I thought I suggested to get him out a bit.
Yeah, you may as well play as him for now until we get your new character in. And Dave, also, same goes for Jarek. Although you're not playing them, Vanetta seems intent on getting upgrades for whoever wants them. So if there is any upgrade you want, obviously you're not familiar with what there is in the game, but if you say to me, I want this character to have a limb or an eye or an organ that does a thing, I'll do my best to accommodate you, or at least give you something close to it. So if there's anything anyone wants, tell Vanetta for her shopping list.
You won't get a better chance. Vanetta will say.
Jarek, what are you up to?
Not much, really.
Okay.
Some spare like scope eyes for that.
Scope eyes?
Yeah, for people
Like-
like.
You mean like targeting or
Yeah, targeting.
I'm going to start making notes.
So that's the other thing, that as well as saying, I don't expect you to come up with all this now, we'd just assume it's on the list. But as well as there being arms, legs, and Bumpsy Daisy, and organs and eyes and ears, there's also variations on them. So, for example, talking of eyes, you can have night vision eyes, you can have targeting eyes, you can have in a way auspex eyes, you can have very expensive eyes that do multiple things. There's a lot of different things you can do with each bionic. Basic arms, for example, are just replacement arms, but they scale up to very fancy ones like where the one Gaius has, which you wouldn't be able to notice is a bionic arm unless you cut him, and it has a weapon in it. And there's loads of variations on these sorts of bionics. So if you are interested in getting bionics, this is where to get them from, because this is the planet's primary manufacturer of such things.
You're booking every limb off a bionic body.
I'm just going to nip to the toilet. If you guys want to just chat amongst yourselves, roleplay, whatever, I'll pick on shit later on the recording.
What about Siegfried? Do you think he wants any bionics? Or is
Probably,
he a human purist?
I'll probably go for some rejuvenate treatment instead. But that'd be about it, I think. So, but yeah, he's a purist, really. So,
I see.
as it
Are you
says,
asking?
unless he absolutely has to, he's not going to. He's not going to go for him.
That's fine. Were you honestly asking for like some sort of bionic eye there, Hayden, on Fairness? Like a targeting eye? Is that what you were asking or saying?
Why not?
Okay. Yeah, like I say, you won't get a better chance to tool them up a bit than Lady Pagni's, I don't think. But yeah, Canny's a purist.
Yeah,
I don't want any bionics unless I get like wounded terribly. So.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. It's like, why would you bother unless you're seriously injured? Because when the real deal is the business.
Mm-hmm. But Vanetta's been fucked up. She's got multiple gene stealer wounds.
Yeah.
And so...
She's got a need to need a bit of assistance in that respect. But it makes sense. It makes sense.
And plus she is a tech priest, so...
Yeah, exactly. But, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense to that. I think she's maybe of a similar mind to Alexa in terms of sort of unwillingly become almost
That's...
kind of sort of mechanized in some ways.
So to start with, I was playing her quite anti-bionics because she'd been forcibly upgraded by this heretic.
Yeah.
And moving away from it, but now after that last mission, I'm going the other way. I think on the pendulum and leaning into it a bit more. So
I think the irony is although Alexa wants to create this army of services in the game, she actually wants to be more human herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that.
So,
I think every tech place in any campaign across, there's always that kind of pendulum going between human and machine. And some of them are well on one side of it, and vice versa, and some of them go in between the two. So
yeah, it'd be really easy and a bit cliche to just go for all the armor upgrades and things like that. It's like I'm
I would like some subdermal
I
armor.
know. So you got one of them for free at the start, and then I thought, or maybe I'll lean right into that, but you never did. And you've always avoided it. So in fact, if anything, you've kind of gone like the other way, trying to be more human. Which I say like every tech priest has this little kind of pendulum swinging. So
You got that on your order list somehow, like remember to ask Guys what it wants. When he wakes up.
that's what we hear. Someone talking about here, or are you just making chicken noises for no reason?
It's Hayden. Hayden was saying, I think I heard him say he wanted subdermal armor, and then he said, make sure to ask Gaius what he wants.
Say something for me, Hayden.
Buck.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry,
To be honest,
I lost you for an audio there. So,
to be honest, there's absolutely no reason that you wouldn't be able to come back to Lady Pagni later for the characters that aren't present anyway. So, okay, right. Is there any? I don't know what you were talking about when I came back. So I don't. Do you want to move on?
We were just. Yeah, I'm happy to move on. I don't know anyone else, but yeah, we just chat shit. So.
Okay. Have you made your own list, Alan, or do you want me to keep a list of what people are asking for?
I mean, I've made a list. I've been for myself. I've been adding other people's stuff onto it. Just give me a sec. I'm just going to replug in my camera because it's messing around.
Okay. Do you have the cybernetics book that I've got, Alan? I don't know if I ever sent you that.
But I think most people are quite resilient to getting bionics, because So I don't think Siegfried wants any.
No.
I think I'm not quite sure where we are with the brothers. They want new knees, and I don't know if they committed to a new arm or not.
Siegfried wants something though. Siegfried wants some rejuvenate treatment.
Huh?
That's what
Okay.
Siegfried
wants.
Yeah.
That can be done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So but So what do you reckon, Hayden, for fairness? Did you want a new arms or not, or did you want a new eyes?
I reckon. This last time playing fairness, most likely, but I would like to see them both upgraded. So I was just going to say, like having a weapon arm each for them, so when they're dealing damage, they do a little bit extra because they've both got a high strength stat. So it'd be
matching arm, matching knees. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if the other one needs knees. I don't think.
Yeah, but you don't want to have one without the other, do you?
Yeah, you can't get to one without the other.
I don't think Ferris needs. Well, it's not my choice. It's not my choice. It's up to.
So it is.
If it's not your choice, then whose choice is it, man?
So at this moment, Hayden, Fairness is still your secondary character. So if you want him to make that decision, that's fine. Also, you can, as other characters and as the other players as other characters, can lean on NPCs and persuade them of things if they want. And I do track how they feel about you and how they are more likely or less likely to listen to some of you. And at the end of the day, having bionics affects the party if they come with you. So it's basically like a way of buffing your party. If you persuade someone to take a bionic that's going to improve your party, that is your decision as a player or as the group, depending on what character you're talking about.
I do think both could have a little bit there when they need it. Even Ferris has an eye and Citrus has an arm or something like. You know what I mean? Both of one of each.
Okay, so what you're saying then is Fairness, eye, no knee, and you're saying tits, arm and knee. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because Fairness is a targeted eye.
So it's basically So it's basically the minimum upgrades. They're not getting matching upgrades. We're going to just go for the minimum, but suitable for their loadout
skill set. Yeah.
The other thing to remember is that when you have augmetics fitted, there is a certain amount of downtime afterwards where you're not mission ready, you're not combat capable. So you don't want to be having loads done all at once, basically, or you're just going to be out of action for fucking ages.
Okay. So, Jarek, you said nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jarrett's got his very prominent metal lower jaw.
And ears.
And ears, yeah. Does he have
You don't
something
wanna-
else? Is it his spine or something like that as well? That's
No idea. It's just looking at the image and he's got no ears and no mouth.
I think it says on his character sheet what his augmetics are somewhere. Let's have a look. Oh, one of his arms maybe is as well. I think a lot of the talents he has are related to his augmetics. So that's about his shield. Yeah, I think when I built him, I think has he got extra armor?
No. There's no notes on there for anything like that.
No, I think the idea of it was some of the talents and traits he's got are manifestations of his augmetics. So, like, he's got iron stomach. That's part of his digestive system's been replaced. And crushing blow. He's got a augmetic in his shoulder, so he doesn't have a full augmetic arm, but his shoulder has been enhanced. I think that's how I built him to be, because the idea is, he's obviously been through the wars because he's lost his jaw, he's lost his ears,
His eyes as well, but look at it, they're red in
and his
the
eyes.
image.
Yeah, but I think they're just standard eyes. I don't think I gave him anything for that because But yeah, he does have a story about how he lost all his bits and pieces, which basically involves exposure to vacuum.
Just doing Hoovering.
Is it like, I was about to say, is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he gets sucked out onto the surface of Mars? Is that how it was?
It is pretty much that sort of thing. The backstory, none of you know this, but the backstory is that he's always been a naval boarding officer. He's responsible for defending against and carrying out boarding missions. And before he joined the Inquisitor, he was on a vessel that was boarded and he was asleep. And he woke up late and wasn't in the right place at the right time. The ship got overrun and he passed out in battle and woke up on a barren moon where he'd been evacuated to in an escape pod with some of his crew, but he'd suffered exposure to vacuum and the cold planet when he got down there, and that's how he lost his ears and his eyes. But the shoulder is from a bolt round, and the jaw is from a very, very vicious punch. His jaw was punched clean off. So there you go. I won't tell you who punched him off. Punched him off? Punched it off.
That's it. That's new aggressive style of wanking.
That's a new euphemism. Oh, yeah. That girl punched me off last night. It sounds a bit Australian, like Australian slang.
S&M badness.
So basically what you're saying, Pigs, is he's an Imperial Navy breacher.
Yeah, who's been fucked up. That's why he's got the shield. He's one of your guys.
With the big shield, yeah.
Yeah, that was how he was designed originally. And he was brought down to the mansion after the incident with Lord Eldon's men that raided the mansion. The idea was that there was obviously a gap in security in the mansion because when the power went down, Lord Eldon's men were just able to walk straight in. So Jarek was brought because he is an expert at repelling boarders, and the Inquisitor was like, well, if he can do that on a ship, he can do it to the front door of a fucking mansion. So that's his job, is to guard the mansion. But you guys decided, but you guys decided to bring him with you on this mission. And here he is. I'm sure nothing bad's happened at the mansion while he's been away.
Alyssa can hold the fort, I'm sure. And Gladstock, Gladstock's.
Yeah, Gladstock's not to be trifled with, is he? He's a bit of a badass when he's in the right mood. And there's Missy, and there's Jeeves, and there's Fat Les. Fat Les will come out of the armory now.
What's the name of that
Thomas
brief,
knows how
Dave?
to use a gun.
Oh, the priest Praxis. Yeah, where is Praxis?
What happened to Praxis, Dave?
Where did he go? I mean, he's
Seen him
been.
a while.
I don't know. I mean, yeah,
Seen him in a
somebody
while.
surely has noticed by now that he's not been seen in several days. Anyway, where is he? Anyway, right, moving swiftly on.
I never let him die.
It's only Praxis, yeah, I didn't like him.
Nobody liked him. Nobody liked my
That's maybe
spiritual
why he left.
guardian. So he just disappeared.
So he just like
It's just a reflection of the lack of spiritualism in yourself, Dave.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, his disappearance is purely a reflection of your lack of interest. It's not a plot point.
He's punching one out in the factory.
Anyway,
to attack the Emperor.
anything else you want to do?
Emperor.
Poor Praxis, he was so misunderstood. He was trying to be nice to Gaius and everything.
He's creepy.
He's put me in a cage and whipped me.
He was a bit weird, to be fair. Right, anything else for Venetta's list? Anything else anyone else wants to do?
I think we're there. I think we're ready to move on, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Punch us off.
All right.
I mean, I could use a good punching off.
Couldn't we all? After around 20 minutes or so of you compiling this list, Ferinus and Titulos are having a drink. Spring is asleep at the moment. Ted's still peering out the doors at the stars. There is a knock at the main door to this suite.
Enter.
The door opens and a very well-presented man in perhaps his 50s enters with sort of swept back grey hair into a bit of a widow's peak, long sideburns. And as he gets closer, you realise he's probably quite significantly older than he appears. There's the telltale strange degendering that comes with extensive use of rejuvenat treatments. He looks about 50, a good 50, but he's clearly older than that. It looks like his skin's a bit pulled tight, a bit too rubbery in places. I mean, he comes in dressed in an immaculate white long coat bearing symbols of the apothecarium, down his sleeves. And trundling along behind him is, on two small caterpillar tracks, is a servitor wearing a nurse's outfit, complete with mask over its face. And the man enters and says, hello, good day. My name is Dr. Festus Bouquet. I've been sent to your suite to administer treatments to you all. I am a real doctor.
I think. I think Spring. I'm going to look at Spring. I think Spring is the most in need of attention. See to her first.
Oh, very well. As you wish. And he beckons the servitor over to Spring.
So I need to ask Spring as well, Dave, because I didn't ask her whether she wanted anything. I'm going to say to Spring, I'll say, Spring, I don't think you need any bionics. I think you're perfect as you are, but I mean, it's your decision.
She wakes up. She's been asleep this whole time, by the way, in front of the fire. But she wakes up as the doctor starts examining her, and she says, "What? Bionics? What?
Bionics? Yeah, metal components that will make you stronger, fitter, faster than before."
Faster? What about sneakier?
Sneakier.
I'm going to close my ears, I think, says Dr. Bouquet. Bouquet. Sorry.
So I don't know. Can you get a personal cloaking field for Spring?
I'm
not aware of anything that makes you sneakier, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So.
There are things you can get, augmetics you can get to make you sneakier. There's some ridiculously expensive stuff that can project like stealth fields. But they're like obscenely expensive. But you can get, I think, replacement legs or something like that. And as a tech priest as well, you'd be aware of things like what's the fucking tech called? Shaquita.
A stomach.
Stummer. You'd be aware of things like stummers, and maybe if you can fit anything into the human body, you could fit a stummer. You think that might be something that's doable.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, I guess there's no huge advantage there over just a regular stummer, I guess. So I'll say
Depends what you're doing.
Yeah. I'll say your legs perhaps could be replaced, but
What's wrong with my
really
legs?
want to do that? There's nothing wrong with your legs, Spring. Absolutely nothing.
Currently, there is quite a lot wrong with her left leg. The hot pants that she wears on the left thigh have been burnt away. It's quite high up, almost revealing her underwear, and she's got this horrific-looking burn on her thigh from where she was caught with a las blast.
So that's the question then: is she like crippled on that leg, or would she be better off with a bionic leg, or will she maybe one day heal?
Make a Medicaid roll, please.
Mm-hmm. Pass with 2 degrees.
You think the leg can heal, but it looks to you like there's extensive nerve and muscular damage. You think it's, it's. I mean, she very nearly died when she took this shot to her leg. This is what took her down. You think it might be best for her to replace the leg?
Yeah, I'll say to her as much, and I'll say, your leg, Spring. It looks like it's been ruined. We can make it stronger. We can make you stealthier, sneakier. We can rebuild you.
I would like you please to make a fellowship test, and you'll get a modifier for this because you've developed a bit of a relationship with Spring.
I'll say, don't you trust me, Spring?
Okay, you will get a... What do you get? Oh, that's the wrong way round. Spring. The fuck is Spring? There she is. 42. You'll get a plus 10.
Use a fate point, Dave.
Okay.
That's just a fail by 0.3.
Okay. She says, well, if you think it's for the best, then maybe I should. Would it be like... she points at your augmetic arm.
It would be better, much better. The bionics here, they're the best on the planet. That's why we came here. I don't think you'll even know.
Okay. So, well, I mean... guess you know better than me, and for the first time in all the time you've known Spring, you realise that she's not looking particularly cocky or arrogant or insane like she comes across sometimes. She looks scared, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, it's a big decision for anyone, but you know that I want what's best for you, Spring. And what's best for the Emperor as well.
Yeah, old MPP. Yeah. He's a big man. Everyone told me about him. So would he want me to have my leg off?
He would want you to be as strong as you possibly could be in order to fight the enemy. The arch enemy.
Yeah, the arch enemy. So, like, if I got a new leg, and I was, like, trying to hide, or run, or climb, would it make me do those things better?
I think it depends on the leg. I think we'd need to stress to them how important it is to keep your dexterity.
Yeah, the deca leg. So, like, whose leg would I have, then?
It'd be your leg. It'd be made just for you.
You just said I was going to have my leg off for a new leg. So
Oh, that leg.
Oh wait, yeah. Sorry, I just forgot. Sorry, there's a moment there. Gladstock was telling me about is the difference between machines and people. I think I understand. You're talking about a machine leg, yeah?
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, what did you... Oh, you thought we'd get someone else's leg and just stitch it on?
Yeah.
No, no, nothing like that. It'd be a metal leg, a metal, like a machine leg.
I was going to say, it'd be a bit weird if, like, like if I had Kenny's leg or something, wouldn't it? Because his leg's a lot bigger than mine. I'd look all lopsided.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd look like me with Kenny's leg.
You'd look like a freak, Spring.
Yeah, I'd look like one of them fuckers in the carnival. They'd call me Fat Leg Girl.
But no, it'd be nothing like that. It would be an improvement in every way.
All right, well,
We wouldn't want you to walk with a limp.
Nah, that would be terrible. Plus, I've just got into dancing, so yeah. All right, I'll have my leg off.
Okay, I'm going to put her down for a stealthy leg.
She doesn't seem particularly enthusiastic about it, but you get the idea that maybe you've convinced her in some way, but there's definitely a bit of a reservation about it.
Sure.
Okay, so at this point, Dr. Festus Bouquet is going to begin healing people. And he's going to start with Spring, just because that's where he was directed. So I'm going to make some rolls.
I'll have a bacon one.
Ooh, that's a good one. So that's 5. He heals Spring for... This is first aid. So, Spring is critically wounded, so 1 plus degrees success, so that's... So 6 divided by 2. Heals Spring for 3 wounds, which is actually pretty good when she's as fucked up as she is. Spring is critically wounded, so she's going to take quite some time to get back on her feet. And then we're going to go round everyone. Feminist! Oh no, Hayden's not there. So... Oh, he is? No, he's not. Is he? Yes. Feminist. What are you on wound-wise at the moment? You're muted, by the way, Hayden.
Wounds, current, 2.
2 out of
14.
14. Are you what's the fucking talent that classes you as always lightly wounded? Do you have that?
Hardy.
Hardy. Do you have Hardy?
Go back up. I'm not sure. I do like to kit stuff like that. No.
Okay, so 7. So you're heavily wounded. So 7 plus the healer's int bonus is 13 divided by 2 is 6, round up in favour. You heal 7 wounds.
I'll add that on right now.
Sort Titulos out. Titulos is Titulos Hardy? No, he's only lightly wounded anyway, which is convenient because Dr. Bouquet failed his apothecarian role.
He's not a real doctor.
He is a real doctor. He told you. Venetta, what about you?
I'm on 4 out of 9.
So that means you are heavily wounded.
I think so, yeah, because I've only got toughness 2, so...
Yeah, okay, so that's going to be...
Actually, no.
That's 1 degree of success, so that would be 6, 7 divided by 2, rounded up in your favour. 4 wounds, you are healed. Jarek?
Unwounded.
Jammy fucker. Why can't I wound you in either fucking character? I'm gonna have to start. I can in fucking D&D. I'm gonna have to start brutalising you more in D&D to make up for it.
Even more, I die almost every fucking session.
I take a lot of pleasure in beating the shit out of Caleb, Dave.
Because he's almost unkillable, though, isn't he? To be fair.
Exactly. It's.
I know. That's what
you all
do
are.
to me too, yeah.
Exactly, but that's how I play. I've told you before. That's how I DM. If someone can take it, I knock fuck out of them. I tend to leave characters alone that can't take it, apart from really dramatic moments. But in your game, Dave, all of you can fucking take a beating. Like Claws as a barbarian can soak damage. Sylvada as a fucking tank in plate armor, and then there's Balls with his fucking stupid sorcerer that's got the highest AC out of everyone when he's not wearing any clothes.
I don't think he has anymore.
No, he hasn't ever since I fucking melted him. Melted him and stole all his gear. Fuck you. Next up is Ted. I don't think Ted took much in the way of damage. Quick look.
Ted's a beast.
Ted is a fucking beast. You haven't seen his stat block.
I remember seeing what is.
He's really good. James rolled really well.
I think I remember seeing a little bit of his strength stat the last game. And I was quite impressed by that. I like his weapon skill stat. You know when they roll.
Yeah, he rolled really well for his stats, and then he, with the exception of, I think he got Iron Jaw to shrug off stun. The exception of that, he spent all of his XP on fucking trade skills and law skills. So like, he's not got any fancy stuff, but he's solid in combat, which is decent.
Hold on. Are you saying that James has min-maxed his character?
It's actually not as bad as you would expect him to. He just got very lucky on his stats. For a little 5 foot tall squat, I think he's shorter than that actually. He's got one of the highest agilities in the game.
Wow. It's
fucking mad. Ted's not wounded. Siegfried.
I don't know if I'm wounded or not.
He does at some point. I'm assuming you're going to lead him to Siegfried. Somebody.
Yes.
Siegfried is wounded. Siegfried is definitely wounded. Let me just check.
I'm going to knock quietly on Siegfried's door.
I'm going to make an awareness test for Siegfried. With he doesn't have heightened senses hearing.
Lord Reigns.
I don't think so.
So this will be awareness test, and it will be -10 for the fatigue. You don't wake him up.
I'm gonna open the door.
Birthday.
Okay, and you walk in, you find Siegfried asleep, fully clothed, still with his rifle on his back, his sword on his belt, and he's just face down.
Roughly shake him.
Okay, and you wake him up when you roughly shake him.
Siegfried.
I didn't do it.
We all know that you did, Siegfried. I'm joking.
They were asking for it, peasants. Sorry.
The doctor's here. He wants to see you. Treat some of your wounds.
He's doing a business. He's slightly groggy. He wakes up. I see.
I heard Siegfried.
Yeah. So
Siegfried is
sit himself up, and then he's going to using one man. Still got to take off his rifle off his back, and basically take his pistol off until he wrote everything. Bring it on the foot of the bed, and then he's going to come into the room and say, "Can somebody bring me a decanter of Amethyst, please?" And then a few moments later, somebody enters, grabs some of the best Amethyst off the thing, and then brings it through to the room while the doctor's examining her, so he can have a drink while this is happening.
Okay. Is anyone taking Siegfried the Amasek?
I will. If someone gives it to me.
No, I was calling external to get somebody.
External.
Get some of the good stuff.
There is just to clarify, there is some very good Amasec in the mini bar that you have provided.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get.
I'll pour you one, and while I've been drinking, my brother take it over to you. And with Titulus too, we'll just go, hey, let's annoy Siegfried in his bedroom.
Unfortunately, didn't make a note of where Siegfried was wounded, but he did take critical damage, so he is quite badly hurt. But the doctor begins to administer you, and he says, welcome, Lord Rains. I believe this is the first time we've met. My name is Dr. Festus Bouquet. I'll be your physician today. I am licensed. And he...
may I see that license?
Yes, you can. And he reaches into a pocket, and he pulls out an incredibly new, shiny medical license. And although it's incredibly new, the date of issue is about 6 months ago.
Dave, I want to scrutinise him when he tells me he's a licensed doctor.
Yeah, you think he's telling the truth, but you get the impression that he's stressing this for a reason. That maybe he's been accused of not being before.
Yeah. Well, things are a real doctor, and go ahead.
Oh yes, I'm definitely a real doctor. Any rumours you may have heard, well, it's quite awkward, really. You see, the thing is, there was this man. He stole my identity, went around pretending to be me, passing himself off as a doctor. But I don't think he's a real doctor. I am.
Well, in that case, do your thing.
Hey, did you brag on job on me?
You've got nothing to worry about, Siegfried.
No needless probes, though. That's off the...
I mean, I can probe anything you want, but I don't really need to. I can see your obvious wounds.
No, you can't. You can't.
Please, just let me do my work. You won't even know I'm here.
Siegfried's just today where whilst he's like...
Despite all this, it is quite obvious that Dr. Bouquet is a very skilled physician. He's got quite a gentle touch, and when he's about to do anything to your very grievous wounds, he does actually warn you, this may hurt a little bit. And he's going to...
Thank you for that. So I'm just going to take the drink from Mr. Neckett.
Okay. Make a Carews test, toughness test, please, Johnny. Yep. So Siegfried is fatigued. So toughness. Do you have Carews? You don't.
No.
Plus 30, but you're fatigued. Yeah, you net the drink back. It does take an edge off the pain. And he administers a bit of a painkiller to you as well, and he begins to tend to your wounds, clean them up, sew them shut. You've got a couple of las burns and also a couple of cuts and bruises from where the spider was throwing you around. You are critically wounded, but he's rolled really well for you. So that is 7 degrees of success on the roll. He is a real doctor. So that is 1 plus 7 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So he heals you for 4, which is a pretty good roll for being critically wounded, which puts you on to +1.
You have my thanks.
And you do start to feel a lot better once he's finished seeing to you, but you are still fatigued, you are still very tired. I think that's everyone.
Doctor, could you remove my boots for me, please?
Was that to the doctor?
Yeah.
The doctor says, well, I would, but I have a thing about feet. One moment. And he looks at his servitor, and the servitor eyes flash for a moment, and then it trundles forward, and these little spindly arms reach out, and they begin to undo your laces for you.
Thank you.
So if there's anything else, please contact me. The infirmary is down on level 54.
Did you get me another drink, Doctor?
Yes, I suppose I could. And he walks.
Siegfried, you're getting intolerably lazy.
I'm just a bit tired, that's all.
No, please don't worry about it, Miss Calamere. My training extends to care of the mind as much as the body, and I know sometimes a good stiff drink is what one needs. And he disappears for a moment, and he grabs a couple of glasses of Amasec, comes back, hands one to you, Siegfried, and he stands sipping one himself.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm going to get a chip. In, and then just get offered to clink the glass with him.
He does. He clinks.
And just go down it.
I made Titulus will hold out glasses as well.
Drop the glass off. Drop the glass on the floor, and then just slump back.
Okay. Titulus clinks glasses with you, Fairness.
Yeah. We'll have a swag of this free Amasec. We've got ourselves poured as well.
The doctor turns to you, Venetta, and says, Miss Calamere, one of my colleagues has been tasked with attempting to remove a person from a shuttle. I believe this was at your request. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, due to the radstorm, rather sudden, strange occurrence. Normally we get much more notice. But due to this, we are unable to access the shuttle. However, we have done some preliminary scans remotely. We think it might be quite a complex task. We cannot guarantee the servitor pilot. Well, to call her a servitor is something of a misnomer, but we will do our best to ensure she is freed from this mechanical device that she is bonded to.
Torture.
However,
torture. The word you're looking for is torture.
Well, I don't like to judge. I know that certain circles, certain people are a big proponent of the fusing of man and machine. And he gestures at your arm as he says this. He says, however, when we perform the surgery, a day or two when the storm clears, I think it might be beneficial if we had someone of a technical mind to assist us, if you understand my meaning. Would you be interested in helping us, or would you rather I contact Lady Pagni herself? Perhaps she has some of her staff that could help.
I'm going to say to... so, you said that they're doing it in a couple of days, is what you said?
Yep.
I'm going to say to him, no, I have other priorities. My time, I will not be available in this time, or at least if Lady Pagni gives me what I require. What about Ted? I'm going to look to Ted. Perhaps you could assist. I trust you, Ted. I don't know about Ted. I don't know if he's any better than what Lady Pagni can offer, but...
Oh, well, Ted's real good at making fixing things, and well, really, it depends on what happens next, because at the end of the day, he is an abhuman on the loose, and I mean, he's definitely got a mind of his own, you know, just like, you know, he's waiting for instruction from afar. But yeah, I will certainly put it to James that that's an offer.
So my intention is to go under the knife and, you know, get barnacked up, so I don't think I'm going to be available. I'm going to get on with that as soon as possible. So it would have to be either Lady Pagni or Ted.
Well, it wouldn't be Lady Pagni; it'd be one of her people.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, so you've met some of her mechanical personnel before. Ted is pretty good with technical stuff. He's maybe, I mean, you don't know this really, but to metagame a little bit, he's maybe better than Venetta at certain stuff, but his knowledge base and his skill spread isn't as wide as Venetta's. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we can do this. another time when James has had his bit of input. He might want bionics, I don't know, or he might not.
So yeah, so what I'll do is after tonight, I'll send James a message saying these are the options that are presented to you, and he can choose to participate in any of them. But if he doesn't participate in that, one of Lady Pagni's personnel will help, and they're still, they're still skilled. They're probably roughly on par with Venetta. Some of them are better, but it depends on your reputation with Lady Pagni as to who she sends.
Mm-hmm. I'll say to Dr. Al's.
Say again, Dave.
Give him a bionic beard.
There is actually somewhere a character with bionic hair, but it hasn't cropped up yet. But it will, I promise you.
Cropped up, is that a pun? Or?
Sort of. I'm a bad man, Alan. We know this. Anyway,
I'll say to Doctor, I'll say, if you can't get her out safely, I think death would be a release to her. But I want you to save her, Doctor.
Oh well, it won't be me. No.
Why?
Well,
not good enough?
I'll have you know I'm a very skilled physician, but no. You see, the thing is, we have an assortment of highly skilled physicians and surgeons who in this facility, and some people are better equipped, specialists, if you will. I tend not to work too much with cybernetics. I'm more of a general physician. But some of my colleagues, they are remarkable at what they can do with, and he gestures towards your arm again, that sort of thing. And removing such things is just as complex as attaching them in the first place. So you can rest assured that if Lady Pagni were to get involved, she would, I'm sure, arrange for her best physicians for that task to be involved. I will put recommendations forward myself for what my opinion is worth.
I see. Very good, Doctor.
Well, if there's nothing else, cheers for the drink. My Lord Rains, he's asleep again. Just let him know that his wounds, although are stable, may take several days to heal. I suggest he rests. If he wishes to rest within the infirmary wing, we can perhaps speed his healing along. But I strongly suggest any more ill-advised jaunts throughout the hive or wherever it is he's been should perhaps be put on hold until he is healed. Good day. And the doctor leaves.
I rather like that, Dr. Bouquet.
You should. You created him. So, for Dave's benefit, in Alan's campaign, he has this horrifically deformed doctor called Dr. Festus Bucket. And as soon as that name came up, I was like, I need to have a Dr. Festus Bouquet in my game. And he often makes references to the fact that he is a real doctor. So I've just basically suggested that he's not.
It's a bit of an Easter egg for us guys, is why.
Yeah, me and Alan both do, and Hayden does it with his campaign as well. We throw random Easter eggs in for each other's campaigns. So. Okay, so you're patched up. Right now, it's getting fairly late. It's probably about 9 or 10 p.m. What would you like to do?
And I'll just catch some sleep for the time being while we can, catch a quick nap. Just wait. I'm happy to progress things. I don't need to do anything else at this stage. I don't know about anyone else. Oh, Hayden's not with us. I don't know. I'm just going to go. I need to go for a slash. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I do as well. We'll be right back.
Boy, Max.
number.
Right. Hayden, you're muted. I don't know. I can see you grinning. I don't know if you're saying anything. Jesus, I just thought Johnny was kneeling down. But it turns out it's just his knee visible on the screen. I thought it was his shiny head.
I am wearing shorts, by the way.
I noticed. Yeah, I was hoping it was shorts and you weren't just wearing fucking briefs. So a thong. That's how I imagine Siegfried when no one's around, just parading around in a vest and a thong with his pistol in his hand.
Well, I was watching my boy react to something I've seen. I've instructed him on a really funny anime to watch, and he's pissing himself laughing at the moment.
All right. Right, so so it's getting late. It's 9 or 10 p.m. Titular says, "So are we keeping here tonight? Or are we heading back?"
No, we're going to have to stay here while we have the work done. I believe her specialists are here, and we need to speak with Lady Pagni. I believe. I don't know when she'll become available.
Well, I'll get bunked. Well, where we're bunking, bro? Are we bunking here?
Says, he gestures at the other wing. There is this second door leading off opposite Siegfried's bedroom. He goes over to it and he opens the door, and there is an identical looking bedroom. The main difference is on the dresser nearby, there's some perfumes, hairbrushes, things like that, things that suggest this might be Trantia's room. But there is this large, massive double bed, this, four-poster double bed.
Alright, it's gonna go and get his kit.
Okay. So, Theranos and Titulos are going to take over the double bed. Spring is asleep in a chair by the fire. Siegfried's in his room. Ted finds himself a comfortable chair, begins to nod off. Jarek and Vanetta, what are you doing?
I'm going to coop.
Anywhere in particular, or I just want to carry on working on this shopping list, and then I'll keep on a sofa or something.
Okay. Okay, so there gets to a point, Vanetta, where you're the only one awake. Everyone else is asleep. Jarek and Spring are asleep in front of the fire nearby. The Syrian twins are in the other bedroom. Siegfried's in his chamber. And after about an hour of you compiling this list and coming up with ideas, there is a knock at the door.
Enter.
There's a bit of a pause, and eventually the door handle clicks open, the door pushes in, and there's a a rather confused-looking Lady Pagni standing there, and she says, "Oh, Miss Calamere, isn't it? Sorry, I wasn't really sure how to open the door. It's not something I do very often." She comes inside, and she kind of awkwardly shoves at the door, and it slams shut, and she jumps back and says,
It's good to keep your eye in, Lady Pagni.
"What? Oh no! It's not what you think. I've shut down my the spire responds to me. The lights, the doors, the ventilation systems, the auspexes, the cogitators, all that sort of stuff. I've had to shut most of it down. My connection to the house is severed. I'm not saying I'm too posh to open a door. It's just I'm normally used to using it, doing such things with, but the rad storm outside is it's causing some interference. I apologise." And she comes over. She pours herself a glass of Amasec, and then she, as an afterthought, looks to you, Vanetta, and offers you the bottle.
I'll just shake my head.
Well,
and I'll say our companions. We must wake them, and I'll just comms into the others in the team to get them here.
Okay. You all hear the sound of Vanetta's voice in your ear. Is everyone joining this conversation?
As the most.
You don't have to, guys. I just didn't want to leave you out otherwise. So.
No, you don't have to. You can ignore it. It's just I'm giving you an option of being a part of it.
I go out of it. So he's going to continue to rest.
I think Vanetta's a mission leader. I don't know what I can contribute as Thronus, in all honesty.
No worries.
So you say you're not being a part of it, Siegfried?
Yeah, he's getting some shut eye, I think.
Okay. Spring probably would sleep through it. Jarek, what about you?
He's staying sleeping.
Okay. So, in the absence of James, it looks like it's just you, Vanetta. Your teammate have basically gone, "Fuck you, V."
Nah. That's fine. Like I say, I just didn't want to leave him sat doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'll say under my breath. I'll say, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
You've carried this fucking team a lot more than you realise, Vanetta. Okay. So she comes over to you and she sits down with a drink, and she looks tired, Lady Pagni. Not excessively so, just like, it's getting on for midnight. She's had a long day. She sits down and takes a sip. Says, "Kale informed me of your unusual arrival.
Warpoing.
And the state of Lord Rains, and how you have brought an interesting gaggle of people with you." And she looks around at Spring and Ted and Jarek, and a gaze seems to linger on Ted for a moment. She says, "And he says you may be looking for some equipment. As for your shuttle, we can keep that indefinitely. We don't get that many visitors here, apart from the odd customer, but they tend to be kept at the lower levels, out of the way. So, what is it that you need from me?"
Well, we must, as you have probably gathered, impose upon you. So the use of your shuttle bay does not seem too great an imposition. You must be aware of the pilot, the woman, who was forcibly attached to the ship in some heretical manner. I want to save her. And what I must impose upon you the most is for your resources. You say that you serve the Inquisition, you serve the Emperor. Well, now we must put that to the test. I need your medical facilities, your resources, your bionics.
I pledged my resources to Antonia's cause, and I mean to carry out that to the best of my ability. In regards to your shuttle, that's easily dealt with. I can pass that off as Lord and Lady Rain's personal transport. Modify a few logs to make it look like it's been here for a month or no one will ever know. With the exception, of course, maybe of Kale. But he's a good man, he can be trusted. As for the pilot, I've read the medical reports. It doesn't look good for her. Magos Groos might be able to remove her from that entire configuration. It looks like she was fused by the spine into the seat, the pilot's seat. And I'm not entirely sure that the connection, the interface between the shuttle and the pilot is human.
I'm going to make the sign of the cog, or whatever the Omnissiah sign is, I don't know.
As you do this as well, you see she wears this necklace. She always wears this quite ornate necklace, and you see different parts of it can light up and do light up all the time. It's constantly shifting, like a decorative necklace. And as you make the sign of the Omnissiah, you see a certain part of it around her collarbone lights up and mirrors the shape of the Omnissiah. But once the lights go out, you would never notice that there is that shape, that symbol hidden within it. He says, "And as for the other things you desire, I promised Antonia I would help in any way I can. However, there is a slight problem with my father. He has become increasingly suspicious of late with the death of my cousin, my uncle. With the deceit of my uncle and cousin, leading them to be discredited and cast aside from the family, and of course, my half-brother's death." And she fixes you with a very steely gaze that gives nothing away. He has started to... Yes, quite. He has started to look closer at the extended family's business, and I have it on good authority he is paying particular attention to funds within the family. And as much as I hate to say this, Miss Calamere, but if you want what I have, you're going to have to pay. However, I believe we may be able to manipulate certain figures in such a way that you won't have to pay the full cost. Now, in the long term, any funds that you direct towards my enterprises in exchange for these commodities can be funneled back to you. But it may take some time to reimburse you. However, I have a deal with certain military and law enforcement agencies on this world where I sell certain devices, augmetics that we make at a discount rate. I think it might be simple enough to falsify the records, so to speak, to make it look like I am selling these items, the bionics, cybernetics, to law enforcement and military agencies on Desilium, and funnel them to you, but it will still require a payment to not flag up as a unusual transaction, if you understand.
Of course, I understand, and we don't want to jeopardize your position. So, in character, Vanetta has absolutely no idea how much money is available at the mansion or any of that stuff. She's absolutely no idea whatsoever. But in character, in this moment, she's going to say, "Don't worry about all that. I'll take care of it. I'm sure we have the resources that you need. But yes, don't concern yourself. Money won't be an issue. But in character, I have absolutely no idea what money we have or not. So
you don't know anything about the funds that are available. What you do know is that Mesmar has told you on multiple occasions that she has posed as a member of the nobility, and Gladstock once told you that financially you were in a strong position, but not a permanently strong position.
Well,
So
it can be a less strong position after this engagement. So.
There is. Yeah. There's. This is going to be a costly enterprise if this is what you want to spend the unknown amount of thrones on. And I'm not purposefully keeping that amount from you. It's just it's never come up before.
No, not at all. But no, I'm going to say to her that there's no issue there, and she's not to concern herself.
Very well. I know that your mistress planned to leave for a time, and she asked me to cooperate with yourself and Mr. Mortalis, and of course Agent Ricelor. Do you have any idea when Antonia will be back?
I'm going to say to her, soon. She said that it would be soon. Again, I've got no idea. So.
Good. I hope so. She stands, she finishes her drink, and she smooths down her dress. It's a very functional dress. It's obviously expensive, but it's kind of like a matte black affair with this gold ribbing and some lights tinkling in the shoulders and around the bodice. She says, well, if there's nothing else, Miss Calamere, and she reaches out a hand for your list.
Sure, I'll hand her my data slate, I guess.
She takes it from you, looks at it for a moment, hands it straight back.
Cool.
Well, it's getting late. I'll see what we have available, and we can discuss payment another time, perhaps. And she gestures to your friends as well and says, you all look like me. I think we could all do with a good night's sleep.
Too right. Thank you, Lady Pagni. You've been most helpful.
Well, of course. I made a promise. And she turns and leaves. And she walks up to the door and again has this moment where she just stands in front of it. She goes, starts fiddling with the door handle, steps outside, and then awkwardly closes it, and off she leaves. You get the impression it's not something she does very often.
Okay, I'll get some sleep.
Okay, you sleeping here, are you?
Yeah, I'll just sleep on the sofa.
Okay. Siegfried, Venetta, Jarek, Ted and Spring, which I'll roll for. I'd like you all to make an awareness test at -20. Ted can't pass that.
I can't pass it.
Neither can Jarek.
Okay. That's Spring. Siegfried, I'll do yours for you as well.
Did you command me to do one, Dave?
Nope.
I don't think you did, but
You're in the wrong place for this one.
I thought
What's that? Jarek, Venetta, you wake up. A Spring sits bolt upright in a chair, and she's got her pistols drawn. And she's aiming towards the door that leads out onto the balcony. And she says, I've seen something. There was a man standing out there.
On the balcony? That can't be possible, Spring.
Oh, not
Why? Because he didn't have fucking legs. I fucking seen him, V. I fucking seen him. Stood out there.
not now, Dave.
I think I know where Johnny is. I think I know where I'm going to comms into the group. I'm going to say, all squads, battle stations. No, now stop! Whatever you're doing, Fairness. Cut it. Don't make it weird, Fairness. Get combat ready.
Ready up.
We're under attack.
Under attack. What?
Okay, so so Siegfried, you hear Veneta, Theranos, Titulos, everyone hears this. What's everyone doing?
Okay.
Getting out into the action.
Okay, so you burst out of this room. Titulos is right behind you, weapons up, and you see Spring she's sort of perched on the back of a sofa with 2 pistols pointing at the door. Veneta, what are you doing?
I shall draw my plasma pistol and aim it in the same direction.
Okay, Jarek.
Get my shield and walk towards the door. Balcony.
Okay.
Siegfried's gonna sit on Groggle and then just grab his sniper rifle off the floor and get ready to load it.
All right. Ted also gets up.
Starts scanning his room.
Okay. Ted also he gathers his bolt gun. Theranos and Titulos begin to approach from the other room. Theranos, have you got your bolt gun ready?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Titulos comes through with his pistol in one hand, chainsaw in the other. And you see outside the window, or outside the door, sorry, where this balcony is, there is what looks like snow falling from the sky, covering this balcony. It's quite thick. It looks like it's been falling for maybe an hour. It's quite heavy. It looks like it's maybe an inch or so deep. But you don't see anyone on the actual balcony.
Snow.
Bits of mountain, I think.
Are there any prints in the snow?
So are you going over to the door to have a look?
Yep.
Okay, as you look down through the door, the snow is thick. You know it's been falling for some time, but there's no footprints anywhere. But I would like you to make an awareness test, sight-based, if it makes a difference, please, Jarek. Okay, yeah, you don't see anything untoward at all. And as you approach the door, you hear a voice from a speaker set in the door saying, "Warning, radiation security in place."
There's nothing out there.
You sure, Jarek? Yes,
There's no prints in the snow. And it's as radioactive as fuck out there. If there is anything out there, it's going to die.
Are you sure, Spring? Are you sure there was something out there, a person?
She looks at you, Veneta, and she looks scared. She says, I've seen a man. Why would they see a man if they want a man?
Nothing could live out there. Radiation. It's a death sentence.
What things can live on places, Veneta?
What was this man doing?
She looks at you, Jarek. She's just standing there watching.
What, standing in front of the glass?
She points outside the door. She says, he was standing there and he was looking in.
Come over here and have a look at the snow out here. There's no footprints out here at all. There is nobody standing there.
Okay. And she slowly comes over to the door. She's still got her pistols held. She's limping a bit, still on a bad leg. And she peers outside. I'd like everyone to make an awareness test, please. Sight-based. No other modifier. I'll do yours for you, Siegfried.
also going to get he does as this is happening. He's going to swing his sword onto his back, his power sword onto his back.
Okay.
Awkwardly, because he's in a bit of pain still.
Siegfried, Theranos, and Jarek. As Spring walks over to this balcony and peers out into the night sky, into the dark balcony, her eyes seem to flit repeatedly to the night sky. And again, you see she looks really afraid. You've never seen Spring look scared before. She's normally boisterous, lively, nothing fucking phases her, but right now she looks scared. And Siegfried, you notice something more than everyone else. You notice that when Spring's eyes flicker up to the sky, to the stars, it's not just fear. She is fucking terrified of the stars.
Yeah. Okay. All the systems are down, so we can't close that off, can we? Like,
You can't what? Sorry.
we can't close like there's no shutter we can close because all the systems are offline, aren't they?
You can manually close them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna manually close them.
Okay. You begin to close. Sorry.
I suggest we keep a. I was going to say. I suggest we keep a watch. Someone should stay awake.
It's they're gonna struggle to get through anything like that. I'm gonna close the shutters.
Okay.
So,
Siegfried closes the shutters. There's three very large shutters. There's like comes over the door and one that comes over the massive windows either side. And as soon as Siegfried closes these, Spring seems to relax. Not entirely. She still looks a little scared. She's a little bit twitchy. But she took some combat drugs. She's been wounded. She's a bit of a fucking Fruit Loop at the best of times. Maybe that's why.
he's gonna limp over to Spring's cabinet and then pour a drink and then bring it over to Spring and just say, "Drink that. You'll feel better." And don't try not to look up. It can be a bit disorientating. And then he's going to shuffle back into his room and just go and close the door and go back to sleep.
Okay. She takes it quite willingly, necks it in one go, and she smiles at you and she says, "Thanks, Weisler." And you notice when you're this close to her that she's jittery as fuck. Make an intelligence test. I'll make it for you, obviously. Yeah, you don't think this is Chems. You don't think this is her usual insanity. She is genuinely scared of whatever she thinks she saw. It's something to do with the stars. Something has fucking spooked Spring.
Okay. I'm gonna stop basically. Like, Spring, I'll take the chair. You take the bed. Okay, it's safe in there. It's secure. I've checked all the cupboards, and I'll be here in the next. We're all here in the next room. I'll even leave the door open. Get yourself some sleep.
Okay. I'd like you to make a fellowship test, which obviously I'll make for you. I'm just going to check the modifier on this.
Yeah, Siegfried's not a particularly personable person, but it's just realise that it's not right to have a scared female not in a less controlled position than himself when he's a bit messed up, but not quite as messed up as that.
Fair enough. Where are we?
Bit of honour and chivalry there still, despite his psychopath nature.
Well, yeah, I mean, there has been elements of this before in Siegfried's person. Siegfried's a little bit more complex than he sometimes comes across. But I mean, he is a psychopath. But there are sometimes levels to Siegfried's psychopathy. I'm going to give you a charm test with a +5. The +5 is for how Spring feels about Siegfried. There we go. 2 degrees success.
Nice.
And Spring seems she seems to relax when you basically tell her, it's safe in there. And as she heads towards the bed, she turns to Siegfried and she says, "You'll keep me safe, won't you?" And there's this moment as she says this where the terror is replaced by this innocence, and she's almost like a child.
And he's just going to say, "Cross, everything's going to be alright. Get some rest."
She smiles, and she slowly, still limping, heads off into your bedroom and takes the bed. What are the rest of you doing?
I'll go into the chair that she was sat in, and then I'm going to sit. I'm going to take a stim, if I can, and then rest the rifle off my lap.
Absolutely, you can take a stim, Johnny. Okay, so you start with your rifle. I'm just going to check your inventory. I think you've still got some stims.
Yeah, stims don't last that long, do they? So.
No, they don't actually. So if you want to just keep one ready, just in case you need it, because they only last like up to 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's had some, I'll keep them ready.
Yeah, okay.
Then,
all right, anyone else doing anything?
I'll get Siegfried a strong coffee from the coffee machine, which I'm sure is there, and then...
Yes, there is always recaf. There's always recaf available.
I appreciate that.
And I'll try and get some shut-eye.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to make sure the fires keeps burning. Sort of clean his rifle. He's not going to disassemble it. He's going to disassemble his pistol and then start cleaning his pistol.
Okay. Fairness, what are you up to?
That's not a euphemism, by the way.
Fairness is not with us at the moment.
Oh, he's not, is he? Okay.
I can't hear anybody. You're muted.
Getting some shut-eye. Sorry, I forgot to mute myself. I was saying it from the other room.
Okay, so you're asleep. Titulos will also sleep. Jarek.
Pull up a chair and sit in front of the door to the balcony for a while until he nods off.
Okay. Jarek, I'd like you to make a willpower test to try and stay awake. Because you actively said you were going to do it until you nodded off, I'm going to give you a +20. Siegfried, I'd also like you to make a willpower test at a +20, but it's -10 for fatigue, but +10 for the recaf that Vanetta gave you. So I'll do that for you, Johnny. So it's a straight roll for you, Johnny.
Yeah. If it's a fail, fate point it.
Okay.
A coffee roll.
A coffee roll. What sort of prick of a DM would do such a thing? Okay, so you do have one fate point, Johnny. I was just checking because sometimes you don't have any. Jarek, Siegfried, you managed to get a good 4 or 5 hours watch in, and nothing happens, nothing untoward happens. But eventually, you succumb to your wounds and your exhaustion. You've had a fucking hard day. You've been stimmed up. You beat the boss. It's no surprise that you fall asleep. No one would criticize you for nodding off after the display you put on in combat. But Jarek, you do not sleep. You stay awake. And you watch the balcony all night. And occasionally you see, above the cloud layer, through the window, the coming and going of small lights, shuttles, heading up into orbit and returning, the trade of Decilium constantly grinds on. And you see as well this greenish smear of smog drifting in from the east. This radiation storm that you've heard of. But nothing untoward happens.
Dad, when is a new episode of my show coming out?
Next week.
Just a second. Let's find something. I have a thing. I'd like everyone to roll a D100, please, except Jarek.
Let's see if I can roll a D100. Yeah. Thanks. All right, man. No, it's horrendously slow, Dave.
That's all right. I'll do it for you. So what we got? Venetta's got a 37. Ferinus has a 16. Siegfried has a 10.
I hope. Depends on the scale.
Dave, can you roll one as well, please, for Jarek?
It might not for him.
Yeah, I'm just checking something you should do. It's a different one. It's not. It's my usual bullshit, as I'm sure you figured out by now, Dave. But it's.
You make it up, don't you? Make it up as you go along.
No. There's conditions for if you're asleep, and there's conditions for if you're awake. And I'm just trying to find the fucking document that I know I've got here because I wrote it today. There we go. Is that it?
Speaking of sleep, you still owe Caleb and Lon a sleep roll.
Yeah, well, it's been several sessions since you've actually slept because it's all been a bit active, hasn't it? Where the fuck has this gone? I fucking wrote this. I know I wrote this. Well, this is frustrating because I definitely wrote this. Is it in here? I put it in another document. Fuck off. I fucking wrote this. Where's it gone?
I feel your pain, mate. You just put it somewhere where you wouldn't normally put it.
I know, and I'm really careful normally about where I put stuff. Is it in Siegfried? Siegfried options? Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
Dave.
Hang on. I can find it. Recent documents.
Liz.
Oh no. Oh no. Look how happy
What's
Hayden
Liz
is.
saying about me now? Who do I look like this week? Liz? Come on, Liz. Tell me more about how you think I look like random celebrity B. Come on, Liz. I'm going to fight Liz one day, and I'll win. Because I'm a man, and I won't be beaten by a woman who just throws random insults at me.
Yeah, Dave's like...
He's grassing me up! He's grassing me up!
Bros before bros, it would seem.
Hayden, I trusted you. Never again. What's this document? Gaius returns to the precinct. I guess I'll be changing that. Yeah, I don't know where this document is. But it was something for Siegfried.
I feel your pain, Dave. I really do.
Let me try and remember. Let me wing it.
Kick the can down the road, Dave.
Let me wing this.
Similarly, in my last game, I was trying to find some information about an alien race, and I thought I knew.
I remember that.
It's something about 10 minutes to find it, and I got quite anxious.
Oh no!
I know you're here somewhere. Here somewhere.
No, it's all right. I know where it is, and it doesn't happen now, but it has been triggered. That's okay. That makes sense. I'm back on track. Everything's cool. Okay, morning comes around. Jarek, you manage to stay awake during the night, on guard, and you keep an eye on this window, and you don't ever see anything untoward. But around 8 or 9 a.m., when everyone starts to awaken, you notice outside the window this thick green smog that swept in shortly after your arrival is still evident. And slowly, one by one, the acolytes begin to awaken. Jarek, make a toughness test, please, at +10.
I've just realised something. This is potentially quite bad. This radiation. This is what the fallout from basically that explosion, isn't it? And the mine where there was mind controlling substances.
Chaos minerals.
For mind control.
Chaos
and then
minerals.
we've unleashed that into the atmosphere. Could there be any potential repercussions of this happening?
We didn't release it.
Siegfried, are you saying this?
Yeah.
This smog?
I mean,
everyone make...
I'm gonna walk through in my dressing gown. No, actually, I'm still fully clothed, so it's like, but without my boots on. And I'm just gonna say that because I'm drinking my a recap in the morning.
Okay,
and then
Jarek, you're doing surprisingly well considering you've just pulled an all-nighter. You are tired, but it's not currently affecting you. Everyone make an intelligence test. Vanetta, you get a +20 for something that you already know. I'm just going to have a wee while you're all doing that.
Because, that can't be a good thing. Because that stuff was pretty nasty shit, wasn't it? So it's blowing up an entire mountain of it, it's throwing that into the atmosphere.
But we didn't do that. It's not our fault, right?
Yeah, you don't admit.
No, we
nothing.
It was like that when we came to it.
It was that baddie's fault, but
it was the baddie. It's not us. If he wants to stick this shit on the atmosphere.
I mean, we're trying desperately hard to do good deeds, but I think we just fucking need to listen up even more. And not the Imperium up even more in our own little special way. Potentially. I don't say that out loud, but I just particularly wonders it, and then just shakes his head like missing the thought and just.
No. I'm going to say to everyone, we're doing the right thing. I'm sure of it. It's not worth thinking about the alternative.
No. Guess not. He's gonna look back to the roof now.
Okay, what we got? Wow. Okay, so Jarek, Vanetta, and Fairness, as says this. Vanetta, straight away you make the connection. You remember seeing these pipes in the facility that were full of promethium, which you assumed to be the fuel source that this place was running on. And you remember seeing this false man injecting some sort of chemical into it, but you don't know what it was. And you start to think, shit, Siegfried's right. He was enriching the promethium. You worked that out at the time. He was enriching it, perhaps, with some sort of radioactive material. And Fairness and Jarek, you both, as Vanetta explains that you think this is what happened, you both have anecdotal stories about your time in the Guard and the Navy, about such things being used as a way of keeping people away from places of military importance. It's a common thing to nuke a site, inject a radioactive element into an area, pollute an area. It might not keep, the most scrutinizing people away, like the Inquisition, but it will keep common, everyday people away. It will keep scavengers away, that sort of thing, because, when your rad alarm goes off, you get the fuck out of Dodge. And you start to think that maybe that's what this is. Maybe this storm cloud, this radiation cloud, isn't a naturally occurring one like Kale Marotti said. Maybe it is the resulting fallout from the detonation of the mountain. And maybe it's been done to keep people away.
Why would they keep anybody away unless they were going to go back and retrieve something?
Well, there must be this dark crystal they're mining down there. That won't all be destroyed. There'll still be rich seams of it down there.
Maybe it's to contain it, cover it up.
Spring pipes up. She says, maybe we should, go tell Gladys what we've seen.
That's an excellent idea, Spring. You're going to pour a recap and then just hand it to Spring.
She nicks it in one.
Yeah.
Jitters even more than usual.
And Siegfried's going to nod approvingly and then just plans up another recap.
It's a good idea, Spring. We can go instantaneously back and forth. There's no reason for us to stay.
Yes, indeed we can. I could chime to what's his name? The head of security chap. Can't remember.
Kale Marotti.
Yes, to
Vianetta.
That we do not wish to be disturbed, and then we can use the port today. Then we can use the portal in my chambers to get to the mansion. How does that sound?
Very sensible, Siegfried.
Okay. So, let's get ourselves up and make a move.
Okay.
All right. So you're heading back through Siegfried's special cupboard.
Yeah, into Narnia.
Into Narnia, yeah.
We're going. New story arc.
The mutants and the mutants in there.
No.
The mansion's fine.
Okay. So you all get led into Siegfried's private quarters. But pause for Johnny. This is nothing new to Jarek, Titulos, Baroness, Vinetta. It is quite new to Ted. And you step into the cupboard as Siegfried opens the doors. And there is this...
Is it a magic cupboard?
It's just a cupboard. As you step in, there is this sense of dislocation that most of you are used to by now. Ted goes... But he manages to keep his...
Siegfried to give him a shove before he pukes in his bedroom.
Everyone gets through okay.
First time's the worst, Ted.
It is.
This may feel a little strange, but don't be alarmed. Perfectly normal.
You find yourself standing in the entrance to the familiar, lavish mansion. The huge marble-clad chamber with pale columns supporting a ceiling that's almost 4 stories above you. There is this wide staircase standing before you, as usual, at the top of which is this sprawling gallery of very well-painted portraits in a variety of styles. And at the centre of these pictures, as usual, there are 2 large paintings, each about 6 foot tall, and they hang with all these smaller portraits scattered around. In one of these portraits, the large ones, the one on the right, there is a woman with cold, somewhat haughty look on her face, noble in bearing. She wears an elegant dress of red and purple frills. Is that what she normally wears, this painting? Her skin is as pale as alabaster. Her hair is fair. She's well coiffed, with her hair piled up on her head. Looks like she's going to a ball. She looks quite beautiful. One side of her mouth is raised in a slight half smile. Gives her a little bit of an arrogant look. You recognise her, of course. This portrait of your mistress, Inquisitor Mesmer. And the second picture, the other picture, next to hers, is of a man, equally regal in appearance. His skin is very dark, like mahogany. His shoulders are broad. His dark hair is closely cropped. He stands perfectly straight, hands clasped behind his back. He wears a very well-tailored suit. He oozes nobility as much as the woman. But there's something military in his bearing, the way he stands. And you've noticed this before, those of you that have looked at these pictures, especially you, Siegfried. Was he always wearing that suit? Wasn't it a naval uniform before? Who knows? There are a number of doors. Large place and a couple of corridors too, and it's from one of these corridors that a figure emerges, well groomed, well dressed. He appears with a look of confusion on his face, and a flicker of a smile passes across his lips as Mr. Gladstock enters the room. For those of you that might not have seen Mr. Gladstock before, he's looking very normal, because he is very normal. That's what he looks like. And he sees you all enter and he says, "Oh, acolytes." He's very in control of himself. Did you call ahead to say you were coming?
Yes.
No,
No,
wasn't-
we thought we'd
wasn't the
surprise you.
It's just that I wasn't sure when to expect you back, and Missy, well, she's prepared breakfast. She seemed to know you'd be here soon and said there would be a new guest. And she points at Ted. Oh, sorry, he points at Ted. And he steps towards Ted for a moment and says, "Homo sapiens rotundus." And he holds out a hand towards Ted, which Ted takes, and he says, "Welcome to the mansion, I suppose. Come, all of you, eat. You must be famished. You can tell me what you found, what's happened." And he leads the way to the dining room.
Psychic Missy.
6 tons for snack requirement.
You're for
Very
Jedi.
useful talent to have. But
Oh, that guy's off for Jedi.
I've just got a black screen with my token on it.
It's really
Hang on.
dark.
Just hang on.
Further.
Okay, where the fuck is Veneta?
Worked up.
Why have I lost Veneta? That makes no sense.
I can see springs, really.
Yeah, that's a bit odd. Okay, so he leads you to the dining room. It's the same dining room that you've been to many, many times. Had a number of meals here with various people. And as you will take a seat, Missy appears. There's no sign of her young son, Thomas. And she begins serving food to you. And it's a breakfast. It's a traditional Iacanthan breakfast, which is remarkably like an English breakfast. But the bits you don't like are removed, and the bits you individually do like are doubled. And to you, Veneta, she leans into you and says, "I made it real special, just the way you like." And she knows exactly. You know exactly what that means. She's modified this to suit your physiology. Can everyone see the map?
I've got
No,
one.
I can see Veneta now, I think, but still.
I've just got me
still
big
darkness.
Dave, you should be able to.
Can now.
Alan, you should be able to.
Yep.
Feminist. Why has it turned all this shit off? Honestly, whoever's 20 needs to shoot in. Siegfried, you should also be able to see. Not that you can, but you should be able to see it. You're sat in the dining room. At the table is Spring, Jarek, Ferinus, Dr. Pench, Siegfried, Veneta, Big Boned Les, Titulos, and Ted. Standing nearby serving food is Missy and, of course, Jeeves. And at the head of the table is Mr. Gladstock. Jeeves is stumbling around trying to serve food and drinks the best he can. He's looking more and more bad by the day. His suit is burnt, his Vox grill is missing, bizarrely, as is one of his eyes. What the fuck? He was fine. He had 2 eyes last time you saw him. Now he's stumbling. Occasionally he makes a noise like this, but he doesn't speak anymore. He's got burns on him. It looks like he's been shot, beaten, brutalized, and maybe some bits of him have been stolen. But you're here.
Looking well, Gene.
He fixes you with his one dead eye. Just stares at you. It's quite intense the way he stares at you. And
Good show. Good show.
Mr. Gladstock, as you're eating breakfast, asks for your debriefing. You can do this however you want. You can tell the story as a group, or you can just say you tell him. You can role play it, or you can just say you tell him this, you tell him that, you don't tell him this, you don't tell him that. It's up to you guys, and you can discuss it amongst yourselves before we proceed.
Just keep the report formal. Because did anybody take any pic footage or anything?
No, I don't think so. I had a... No. The Auspex service score went with Otto. I don't think anyone's taken any pick evidence or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he's just going to have to take our word for it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so how do you want to go about this? Do you want to role play it, or do you want to just tell me? It's entirely up to you guys, or you can do a mix of both, whatever.
I think personally I would like to just debrief him and tell him everything that's happened. I don't want to hold anything back, I don't think.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I feel like I need to hide. But I would just like to, tell him exactly what's happened in its entirety.
Okay. Everyone in agreement, or is there anything?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
Okay. So as you go through and tell him everything that's happened, he says, as you talk about the explosion of the mine, he says, well, that explains something at least. Alyssa flashed something up to me a few hours ago. A large rad storm to the east. Usually they can be predicted accurately, but this one came out of nowhere. Obviously, it's not a natural rad storm at all. And as you go through the entire briefing, you talk about scale, the devices you found, and you've also got a lot of evidence with you. You've got a lot of black orbs and spheres and cylinders and all this sort of stuff that you've taken. And at the end of the briefing, he says, as he looks at this array of evidence you've got of him, he says, it seems some of Otto's theories might be correct. Otto believes Gelt is building an army of servitors fitted with these arrays, and he points to some of the arrays that you brought back with you. He said, I've read some of the research that Graven, the man who designed these things, wrote. Very smart man. He wanted to advance his research to the point where a single person of significant will and intellect, of course, would be able to control the actions of many through devices like this neural array. He claimed the technology could be used to keep populations in check, prevent rioting and social discord. But it seems like perhaps Gelt has repurposed it to combat servitors. Otto also speculated there were many facilities like the Shattered Foundry here on Desilium. If Alyssa was installed 20 years ago, as we believe, if each of these supposedly abandoned facilities have been manufacturing in this way without human input for 20, 10, 5 years, who knows how many servitors or Lazares Gelt has? We need to find them, find where they're going. As for this black metal business, and he points to all these geometric shapes of black metal that you found, this is all clearly connected to that servitor business. But if the metal is mined here on Desilium and shaped here, and he points at Ted, something doesn't add up. He picks up one of the black metal cones. He hands it to you, Vanetta.
Okay, I'll take it.
He picks up one of the spheres that you recover and one of the cylinders. He hands one to you, Siegfried, one to you, Ferinus.
Okay.
And he keeps doing this, and he hands one to each of you. These objects are safe. Don't you feel it? And he reaches into his pocket, pulls out a black orb. And as soon as he does, you feel this uneasy air wash over you.
Do you think...
Sorry, carry on.
So, I'm no tech priest, but do you think they're trying to replicate this technology? Whatever it does?
I'm not sure, but it strikes me that this material is mined here on Desilium, and it's shaped here, and he points at Ted.
There's another stage to the process.
Exactly.
Something heretical.
I feel nothing from these objects. We know the orbs that brought us here arrived from a vessel. There's a paper in the Inquisitor's files that speaks of the black metal being psychically resonant. The author of this paper speculates that the cylindrical form is believed to amplify psychic potential, and the spheres, well, when I am in possession of one, it suppresses my undesirable characteristics. And yet it drove Lansgull Jan insane. We don't know what these other shapes do, and he points to all these other various shapes. In fact, they seem to do nothing. He looks at you, Vanetta, and says, there's another part of the process. They are activated somewhere. But where? Otto also has some notes on this Scale character. I believe the Inquisitor has encountered him before. She killed his mentor, Noman Rhine, but Scale got away. We need to locate where these items are activated.
Could it perhaps be here on in High Fidelity?
It's possible. I mean, we know that Zaxol Thane, the smuggler for the Trade Sable, was bringing items down from orbit in a illicit shuttle that we never found. But
maybe they were blaspheming them on a moon nearby.
We may have found that shuttle.
Well, we've told them about the shuttle that we've captured, right?
yeah,
So I think that they were using this shuttle to take the fashioned items up into orbit. So it makes sense they have other... These shuttles seem like hidden, almost like stealth technology.
yes.
Perhaps we could, somebody could hack into its log and decrypt its navigation log. Discover where and when it's been going with it.
That's a good idea, Siegfried.
What we need is someone au fait with sifting through data. Mr. Krasmark came to our attention, the Inquisitors and mine, through his ability to pick up anomalies in shipping records. Perhaps when he returns, he can do it again the other way. Maybe we can figure out where these objects go. Perhaps, as Ferriner says, it's a moon nearby. Perhaps it's somewhere on this world. Who knows?
That's the perfect answer. Otto will get us out of this mess.
Exactly. He's a smart lad. I know he's weird. I've seen what he keeps in his drawers, but he's bright. He's a good lad. I see such potential in him.
Yeah, if I,
Yeah, Otto's a man. He'll know how to do it. We'll give it to him when he gets back.
He's got the stuff. He's got the
juju.
However, in his absence, in your absence, there has been something of a development. And as important as the Inquisitor's task is, I believe we cannot let this stone remain unturned. Late last night, I found a gentleman lurking around the shanty house in the carnival, near the entrance to the mansion. I almost just snapped his neck and got rid of him, but there was something about him.
Was he dirty?
No, he was ridiculously tall, actually. His name is Hannibal King. He is an agent of the Ordo Xenos. He's been tracking a particularly nasty creature, a gene stealer, I believe it's known as. The creature that you may have encountered in the carnival, Miss Calamere. Mr. King has dealt with these creatures before. He told me what they can do, and I have since familiarized myself with them. And, quite frankly, it terrifies me. Long story short, we need to make sure there are no more of these creatures anywhere on this world. Even one of them could bring around the end of Decilium. I have offered Mr. King our assistance. The Inquisitor did, after all, say that in her absence we were to investigate any matter that would concern the Inquisition. It transpires that Mr. King found his way here via information. A number of individuals known as an organization called the Beast House, an intergalactic criminal syndicate that deals in the trade of exotic xeno creatures. And we know that Paolo Hampton brought the creature here to the carnival, having purchased it from this Beast House. Apparently, that's how he's been acquiring a great deal of the creatures the carnival showcases in the freak show for some time, and claiming that he is a big game hunter. Anyway, Paolo hasn't been seen for days, and Mrs. Hampton is well. And you all know what happened to Mrs. Hampton. You know, she basically was involved in the gene stealer business, and somebody dealt with her. And it seems that she did not survive her ordeal with that particular business. But anyway, I sent Mr. King into the carnival to see if he could learn where Paolo could be. I convinced Seraph to go with him. She has a vested interest in the welfare of those people. What Hannibal and Seraph learned was that after Millie, the bird woman, died, Horace, her husband, became enraged. He wanted someone to be punished. He decided, based on Otto and Miss Calamere's evidence, that it was all Paolo's fault. And to be honest, I totally agree with him. When Paolo returned to the carnival, Horace abducted him and cast him down into the chasm to starve or be eaten by whatever might be down there. And so Mr. King and Seraph went down there on the off chance maybe Paolo had survived. Turns out, yes, he had. But he was in the clutches of a group of sub-hive primitives worshipping what could only be described as a Xenos statue. Mr. King and Seraph and a couple of Canny's friends battled these primitives and rescued Paolo. He's currently in one of our holding cells. So task number 1. Find out what Paolo knows. See if we can track down this beast house. Find out where this gene stealer came from. In addition to this, there were complications created down in the chasm. There was a unsanctioned witch among the savages. Something happened during the fight. The witch became a conduit, a door, for something beyond the veil. This is precisely, by the way, why we cannot allow unsanctioned to roam about willy-nilly. But the entity that came through, it seems it's not just any warp spawn. It's Spire. He's returned. Now, Gladstock nods at you, actually, as you say this. He says, I've been pondering this. What are the chances that out of all the countless warp entities there must be swimming about in the Empyrean, that it just happens to be Spare that comes through when a random witch loses control? It's not likely, surely. In my mind, there are 2 options here. One is that it was an elaborate and quite unlikely trap. The other is that Spare was waiting for such an opportunity. Trantia lost control in the mansion, fighting Lord Eldon's men, and he didn't come through then. So why did Spare come through in the chasm?
We know what this statue was made of. It's a side point.
As a matter of fact, we do. Mr. King returned with a sample of the statue. At first, it seemed obvious that it was just some sort of stone, but it wasn't. Best we can explain it, it's some sort of petrified Xenos remains. And the species that it belongs to is not on any of our records.
Could it perhaps be the species that was on this planet before the Imperium came back?
Gladstock fixes you with a look. Siegfried, as you say this, says, that was my thinking too. But it seems that this creature, according to Dr. Pench at least, has been inert, useless, petrified for centuries, millennia even. Now, back to Spare. I don't know why Spare chose to return here and now. But what does matter, as agents of the Inquisition, specifically agents of the Ordo Malleus, is that we find and destroy Spare. The last time he was unleashed on an unsuspecting hive, well, it was a disaster, and we cannot allow that to happen here. I have sent Mr. King and Seraph after Gaius and the others. I fear we may need Mr. Mortalis for this, our bulwark against the darkness. I have no idea what they're dealing with down there, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to the threat of an unbound demon host. It may take them a few days to return. In the meantime, we need to prepare ourselves. Get yourselves rested, healed up, as best you can. We need you all at your best if we are to track down and kill Spare. And then there's this gene stealer business to deal with, one step at a time, I suppose. I've been reading the Inquisitor's files on Spare and this whole incident with Seraph, hoping there might be something of use in there, but there's so many holes in the files, so much missing. There's nothing about the ritual she used to purge Seraph of the demon, very little on demon hosts at all. I'll have to dive into the library and see what I can find. Otto better bloody hurry back soon. It's not really my forte. But what I have found in her files is a note that mentions only 2 people survived the battle in which Seraph was brought to heel. One was the Inquisitor, obviously, and the other was someone named Slab. The Inquisitor refers to this Slab in her after-action report as Spire's punching bag.
Slab, that sounds like a made-up name.
It does to me too, and I have no idea who he could be. I do, says a voice. He's here. He's locked away. He's asleep where the Inquisitor couldn't smell him no more, says Alyssa.
Not fat legs, is it?
I want to meet this Slab.
Gladstock looks a little perturbed. He clocks you for a moment and says, yes. So do I. Alyssa, where is this Slab? A few minutes later, down in the basement, you all find your way to a dark chamber beyond a door you are certain wasn't there the last time you passed this way. And inside, you see a large device of adamantium and steel, with thick cables and pipes snaking out of it, disappearing into the walls of this chamber. And there is murky liquid in this device that you can see through a thick armor glass panel. And within, floating in the liquid, is this massive, hulking shape. Next to this cryo coffin is an armor stand and a large footlocker. Hanging from the armor stand is a huge firearm. To any of you, it would be considered a heavy weapon, but the grip and trigger are so large, so oversized, that you doubt you would be able to effectively wield it. And beside this, also hanging from the armor, is a thick chunk of metal with a handle on it that looks like it could be hefted, perhaps as a shield. And it looks a little bit more like a bulkhead door with the hinges removed. And next to this lies a third weapon, a bladed weapon that looks like a giant, crudely formed knife, but its cutting edge gleams in the light coming from the corridor. And all of these weapons hang in front of a massive suit of jet black flak armor bearing icons of the Imperium, the Inquisition. And in large block capitals on the chest piece's left breast, there is a name. A single word. Slab. Alyssa speaks. From what I understand, his mind was wiped. No, she doesn't speak like that. Oh, from what I understand, his mind was wiped prior to his internment in the cryo coffin. Also, the Inquisitor notes that Slab is a little like a baby bird. Whatever he sees when he awakens, he imprints upon. He will consider that person his little buddy and will give his life to defend and protect that person at any cost. Gladstock considers this and says, then we should be careful before we awaken him. There's a loud clunk, followed by a whooshing sound, and you see the fluid in the cryo chamber rapidly draining out of the tank. The huge form slumps to the ground beyond the grimy glass, and the door swings open with a cloud of mist. Standing by the machine, Spring's finger hovers over a button marked Purge. Whoopsie, she says. Was I not supposed to press that? The huge figure pushes itself to its feet and stumbles out of the tank, looking a little bleary-eyed. Dave, would you like to describe what they see, please?
Basically, owing to the fact that he's been sitting in a stasis pod for Christ knows how long, a very large, very naked baby. Incredibly fucking large. He's got quite short legs for the size of his body, but he's massive. He's almost 10 foot tall.
Is he,
Absolute
an
fucking... He is an Ogryn.
Cool.
It's an absolute fucking brute of a thing.
Can I walk up to Slab, please?
You can. And he's looking at you, Veneta. Slab, this woman with the metal arm and the red robes is your little buddy. And all the rules relating to that apply to her. Veneta, you have the power to transfer little buddy status to another character, but you would have to persuade Slab to leave your side, and it might make him sad.
No one wants to make Slab.
You won't like him when he's sad.
Gladstock looks at the pair of you, and there's this moment where Slab and Veneta lock eyes, and Gladstock goes, I have a bad feeling about this.
Are you okay, little man?
Nobody!
Where did you come from? What is all this? Are you okay? Are you feeling well? Can we get you a sandwich?
I come from the tube.
This is going to be impossible to cope with. Oh dear me! I see that. Let's get you something to eat. Let's get you a sandwich and a glass of warm milk. Perhaps some pants.
Fix the woman.
I'm just going to sit on the floor, Pigs.
Okay, Slab sits down. Gladstock says, this is one of the two people that survived fighting Spire. And you see as well that, I mean, he's naked. Slab is absolutely butt naked. All his clothing and his weapons are on this rack next to him. And he is covered in scars that look like they are the result of blades. They've just been slashed all over him. And you think, well, yeah, I mean, if Spire was in Seraph and Seraph likes her swords, then it looks like maybe that is what happened.
Anyone who can stand against Spire and survive is all right in my book. I'll go and get his pants. You do smell bad. We'll get you hosed down. Can we get Jeeves to get hosed? Please?
I think he said Spare bad.
Oh, Spare bad. Sorry. I thought you said smell bad. Slab.
Gladstock moves in front of Slab and says, You remember Spare? You know Spare?
Spare. Bad.
I think he remembers Spare. Yes, Spare bad. You want to fight Spare?
Kill Spare.
I mean, that sounds like a good idea to me.
He's sharp as a razor, this one, I can tell.
He's going to Gladstock's going to come over to you, put one arm around you, and whisper in your ear. You don't have to be smart to get punched in the face.
I'm going to go get his pants, Dave.
Okay. Yeah, there's a footlocker. There's the armor. There's the weapons. There's the shield. There's a footlocker as well. And as you open the footlocker, there's a few things in this footlocker, and I'm going to tell you what you see, Veneta. So you do see a pair of trousers. They're jet black. Excuse me. Yeah. So there's this jet black pair of trousers, incredibly large, but they're immaculate, brand new trousers. There's also a very large black vest. and there is a pair of boots. And the thing that strikes you about these boots is how remarkably, I mean, they're huge, but how remarkably shiny these boots are. They are polished to perfection. There are also a trio of grenades, an oversized Vox headset with a boom mic, similar to what we're wearing now, a backpack, an impossibly oversized respirator, a headband with a big torch on it. But the thing that strikes you the most, Vanetta, the thing that really catches your eye, and you have to pick this up and it takes you a moment to figure out what it is you're seeing, it looks like a swimming cap with a mohawk wig sewn into it.
Vanessa doesn't know what to make of that. She's going to take just his trousers and shirt over to Slab and say, Slab, these things are yours. Let's get you dressed up and hosed down. I'm going to call in for Jeeves to get a hose and, a jet washer. Yeah, that's all right. You're all covered in goop.
I'm a bit Jeeves and just like, this is all a bit too strange. To go out for breakfast.
After a few minutes after Vanetta calls in for Jeeves, Jeeves actually appears in the basement. He comes trundling over, and one of his hands drops away, and there's what looks like a cannon in his arm. And he just starts blasting icy cold water all over Slab. It's really cold, Slab. And as he does it, he looks at you, Siegfried, and he fixes you with this look. And it's dead, cold eyes, and you think you can almost hear Jeeves saying, "Please, just end it. Just
kill me now.
Just kill me." As Jeeves performs yet another ridiculous menial task while missing most of his basic functions.
I'm going to reach for my swimming cap, Higgs.
Okay.
And stretch it over my head and let it go with a slap. And then just start hosing myself down and scrubbing my armpits and stuff.
The Slab takes the swimming cap from you and puts it on, and now you notice the swimming cap is exact colour match for his skin tone. You wouldn't even know he was wearing it if you hadn't seen him put it on, and now he has a mohawk. And it's 3 minutes to 11. I think that's a really good place to stop the game.
I suppose for Slab.
Welcome Slab to the group.
Okay, so Slab is Dave's secondary character. He's going to basically be a bodyguard for Vanetta for now, but that might change later.
How are you getting through the cupboard?
Well, that's your fucking problem, not mine, mate.
Plenty of man fat will do it, I think.
Yeah, get the old man fat out again. But yeah, and next session, hopefully, we'll introduce. We'll get Hayden's new character into the game next session, hopefully.
How are we going to explain that to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go, man.
How are we going to explain Lady Pagni?